connecting to that. That'll be catch. Won't have to right now, but once you, better.
Okay, it's 1:01 PM on October 14th, 2022. Going to call the Grant County Budget Advisory Board meeting to order. Present, we've got Amy Walker, Chris Fair, Gabriel Wojtek, Mary McGann, Renee Baker, and Chris Kaufman. We also have Andrea Brand, who's up first on get to our discussion items. Okay, sorry about that, Lance. YouTube was running in the background. I forgot to close down. Maybe you could try to like screen a little better. Yeah. I don't know what happened to it there, but like minimize the participants or just maybe close that one. And then that one on the top, I don't know how that got up there. Anyway, first action item is approval of the minutes from October 7th. Anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 7th as written.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Kevin seconds. Any discussion or corrections? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor. Mary stepped out of the room. One is absent, so 5-0 for approving the minutes. And first discussion item is Sam Flats Recreation Area. Let me
Okay,
just switch over real quick, Andrea,
all
to
right,
the
sure, to the,
budget software. Let's start off with just going down revenue first.
you mean what we've brought in,
What we're going to bring in for
what we're going to bring in, for this year?
2023.
Oh, for 2023, you know, I was,
Let's just stick with 2023 this time around
okay,
for, yeah,
Okay.
we're just working on the 2023 budget.
sure, you're not interested in amended or anything right now.
Not right now.
Okay. Well, I really just put, 706,000. I was just kind of going on, averages. So it's probably low, but I was being conservative, I guess.
Yeah, okay, then, I mean, I guess it's worth discussing what the trend is like this year.
Yeah, I'm with Kevin in that I look back at 2019, and I'm sorry I didn't go through September yet, but when I went before my, stewardship committee at the end of September, we were looking at through August, and through August, we're down, I think it was about 13% compared to last year, but we're still up 4% compared to 2019.
Yeah.
So I think we're fine. We're sure busy right now, so. And I think, if the weather holds, November keeps becoming a much bigger month than it used to be as far as revenue.
Okay, so 706,000 on the booth fees, and then 95,000 on online fees. Got 10,000 in youth initiative grant. What is the expense reimbursement?
The expense reimbursement is for when we sell our books.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so at this point, and this may change a little bit, but this contribution from the fund surplus is bringing money in from the fund balance to balance the budget. Right now, we're at 186,971, which is pretty typical. And oftentimes you don't end up really drawing that out. But that's just where we're at right now. The balance budget is drawing about 187,000 out of the bank to balance the budget. Then we move on to.
And this fund balance is specifically Sandflat's fund balance?
Yeah.
Past fees.
So, yeah, and Sandflats is also an enterprise fund, which is different from any other fund in the county. It's just more of a business type way of doing the accounting. And our agreement with the BLM also, requires that all the money that's earned at Sandflats be used up at Sandflats. Okay, so I think, Andrea, it looks like a lot of these might be the same as 2022. So maybe if you just wanted to
Say
hit
what's
any of
different.
the ones that have gone up or
Yeah.
or of particular interest.
Well, vehicle maintenance is gonna go up a little bit from, up to 6,000. And it was, what was it at before? It was at, 3,500 and 4,500, 5,500, I'm sorry, 5,500. And so we have more vehicles now. We have 4 trucks and we have 3 UTVs. And the trucks, 3 of them are pretty much, almost brand new. We just got another one in the last month. And the other one is 2017, and then there's a 2020. And the UTVs are still less than 5 years old, but they do require, we don't do our maintenance with the UTVs at the road department. We have to do that private sector, and it's usually about 600 to 800 a year annual maintenance on those roads. And of course, we want to keep them in really good, top running condition because we're going on some of the toughest trails in the world. So anyway, I don't want to hold back on spending any money to take care of those. So that's going up a little bit. Utilities, we did get another patrol phone. And so there's expenses there. Utilities has everything, the building, the phones, of course. And then we did have a credit in with Rocky Mountain Power for a while, which I don't know if we ever figured out why we got that credit, but that's gone. So, I'm predicting spending a little bit more there, but still it's pretty low to take care of that building, the utilities. The other thing is the contract services toilet cleaning. I raised that, I think about 5,000. We don't really know for sure if it's going to go that high. I talked to Zunick Brothers, and the sewer plant may be raising their rates. So just put a cushion in there for that in case that happens. The Slick Rock Trail dumpster fee, they may have to raise their rates, the solid waste district. But they weren't sure. They were trying to not raise them too much. So I've got that one up a little bit. And then printing and publishing, I went up to 20,000, and that's because about every second or third year, I have to reprint our main brochures, and they cost about 4,000 or so when we reprint those. They're the 16-page color brochures. So I usually print about 40,000 at a time so that I can get the best rate. So those are the only ones that are standard, line items that are going up. The only other thing is capital improvements. And so next year, we may do something at the entrance station. We're still collecting data. I will meet with the BLM this winter and we'll figure out what we want to do. But I will say that so far, the statistics that we brought in, it's only about 20% of the use has already paid when they come in. So we don't know if that second lane is going to help that much. Also, we don't have the problems we had, during COVID. Of course, we had the problems because everyone had to get out and pay out of their vehicle, and that took a lot of time. But because of COVID, we got a much better credit card system. So our payment system is really fast. So we don't have those lines. We haven't even had a line down the hill probably less than a dozen times this year.
Nice.
Yeah. So the average, when we have a line, the most usually wait is 15 minutes. So compared to Arches, we're nowhere near
Yeah, they took
what
off
people are
the-
going
you
through.
saw that in the paper when we took off the-
So
Okay.
I'll have to see if it's worth it. And then also I know that Active Trails and Transportation would like to have a carport behind our office, we talked about that when I first had the whole yard set up, but it's been on the back burner, so we'll just have to see. When I had quotes on that a few years back, it was about 30,000 for a carport. I don't know if it's, 40,000 now or 45, but, and then we have to see if we want to split that with Active Trails and Transportation, building that carport. And then, so that kind of leaves us, I was thinking, 150,000 for the booth and 50,000 for the carport, but if we split it, and it's less, and then the booth is more, if we even do it. So it's just on there. And of course, if we don't spend it, it just rolls into next year. So unlike other departments. So that's really, everything else is pretty much the same. And then just what you folks come up with the cost to the clerk's office, that we, and treasurers and HR, if there's any change there. I don't know if searching.
Yeah. I mean, we might have to recalculate those admin fees because we haven't, the last time I calculated them was 2019. So, I mean, it would go up if we did recalculate them, but, probably should because the auditors were asking about it for 2021.
And then, Andrew, we put salaries and benefits in. I have that all updated, but I didn't make a change from what you budgeted for hours for your part-timers from 2022. Do you expect any need for an increase on budgeted hours?
No, I think I did it at the higher one last time, so I think we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. You budgeted him at 1,900, yeah, that's all good. And then seasonals, I've got, apprentices will only be 200. And then we've got, actually,
And we can
actually
actually total those all up again. So I think we just kind of divided it by how many positions we put in there.
Yeah, we should
As
just
you know.
talk, there'll be a little tweaking because I think, I can have them work up to 1,200. So I think the seasonal's 1,200 hours. So I think some of them are interested in working a little more.
So maybe Renee, you could just like send this,
Yeah, we'll
or
send
part
over.
of this over, and then Andrea, because I think last year, Andrea, I just sent you this, and then you plug in the things.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't.
Well, we just.
No, you're
barely
fine.
got
We
this
just,
up.
we just put them in.
But,
Okay.
So yeah, maybe Renee, you could just, because you can send this to
Yeah.
Excel too, and
We'll tweak it a little bit. if needed.
erase, or just kind of keep the columns that you need, and then you might need to, I mean, it doesn't really matter what the names are in here, because that doesn't go back. The only thing that really goes back into the accounting system is the totals for the line item, but we do want to make sure that all these salaries, merit, and hours are accurate, so that we have an accurate total.
Is the COLA gonna be 8%?
We
It
don't.
might be negative.
We're taking money out of people's. We'll see. We haven't.
Yeah, you
When
might
is
say-
We'll find out. I mean, it's gonna be tough. Okay,
Yeah.
anybody have any more questions for Andrea?
You mentioned vehicles at the very beginning. Are these owned or leased?
Well, the trucks are part of the fleet. No, 2 of them are Grand County, we pay lease on them, 2 of them. The 2017 is paid off, we own that. The 2003, of course, we own that. And the UTVs, we own all those. So it's just the 2 that are that are leased.
Any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you. Well, good luck with all your, with Benny that you have after me.
I think, Tammy, you're on Zoom, right? Thought I saw her join.
I saw it.
It's just on the way in.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
We can hear you.
Took a minute to unmute for some reason.
No problem.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Get your general fund budget up.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, Tammy, let's cover, any of the line items that have gone up significantly or of, particular
Sure.
notable qualities. Want to just roll down this list with the things you think we need to talk about?
Yeah, let's, which one was it?
Just looking through here, I mean, some of these have very small increases.
Yeah, the one that had the biggest increase, is, runway, taxiway and ramp. We're gonna need to purchase some markers and some signs for our gravel runway we built in. And that stuff can be covered under our grants if it's a maintenance item, if we show it in our budget as operations and maintenance. So I don't, I put it in there in our line item rather than a capital project. If that doesn't work, if that's not legal, I get it. But I just wanted to let you know that that's what that increase was. And that increase could come out of that grant money, for the CARES grant.
Which one, the 35 or the 41?
The 35, we need to get that used up.
I'm pretty sure the 35 can be used for capital because that's predominantly how we used it.
If it's, so if we have it in under operations and maintenance, we can use it on 41 as well.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll figure out, which grant we want to apply it to, because I think if we use 41, then we leave it here, and if we wanted to use 35, then we would put it in capital. Put it over in your fund 56.
Yeah, I did receive another letter from the FAA, but I believe it was on the grant we had just closed out. So they're getting kind of hinky about us sitting on our grants. So yeah, I guess however we need to make that work, but that's what that increase was.
Was that for the runway expansion that closed down?
I'm sorry, say that again.
That the runway expansion that we just closed out?
Oh, no, that was the CURSA grant.
Oh, the AIP 36, okay.
Yeah, AIP 36.
Okay. And then water and sewer's gone up quite a bit.
Yeah, that one was under budgeted for 22, and I'm not sure why. Thank you for bringing that up. We have to pay to have a water operator, a certified water operator. That's $500 a month. I'm not on the county network, so could you pull that screen back up, the for water and sewer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've kind of outlined the definite money that comes out of that account. So we have to do monthly water samples, which involves shipping. I planned for 14 months rather than 12. Occasionally we have issues where we'll have to resend a sample or redo a sample, but those are minimal amounts, as you can see. Then there's the water testing, the treatment chemicals. Those have gone up significantly in price. Yeah, anything chemical related right now is super expensive. And then just some generic testing supplies. We have to do daily chlorine tests on the water. So that's like the little tabs you have to stick in the water. And then the big cost is the operator. And the one thing I just thought of that I didn't add in there was the backflow test. But I think
How much that
only
is?
about a couple, I don't even think it's a couple $100, but
year?
yeah. Later in the budget or later in capital stuff, one of my ideas to fund this water is eventually to get all of our buildings on the airport on water meters. So we can actually charge a fee. Right now it's a flat rate and it doesn't even come close to covering what we spend on water treatment. So eventually it'd be nice to, anything that goes in from this point on will get a water meter on it, but eventually I'd like to go back and get some buildings retrofitted for water meters so we can offset this budget. But for this year, that's the reasoning for the increase. It's gonna go way over for 22. Like I said, I don't know why that was budgeted that low.
Okay, so along those same lines, do you know why the electrical repairs were budgeted so high?
I have no clue. Yeah, that one.
Andy,
Yeah, so
talking
that
about-
can be used to help offset some of the line items that we're going over a little bit on.
Do you think
Do you think it had to do with the solar that for a while this airport was really looking at?
If
you
it
say you
did,
think
Mary,
1,000?
if it did, there were no plans or projects in the works for that. I honestly couldn't tell you what that was budgeted for. Any of the electrical projects that we had on the books were as capital projects. So I'm not sure why it was a line item. I think the other one that went up a little bit was ARF maybe, or no, I added one. And I don't know, I just put that in there. You can tell me it can't go there, that's fine. Was under miscellaneous supplies, 3,500. We have, for the last, I don't know, at least 4 years, we've purchased uniforms for everybody. It's kind of a necessity for us. And up until this point, that money's always come out of our ARF budget. And so I would just like to request that money be separate so that we can use that ARF money as it's intended. That ARF money's got to go towards buying
A little
foam.
lost right now, Tammy. Can you tell me which account you're talking about?
I'm sorry, miscellaneous supplies. It is 620000, just below airport vehicle maintenance.
Say that number one more time.
620000.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, because you have another miscellaneous supply somewhere up higher, I think.
Yeah. And that's, I guess if we want to move those around, that's fine. I just would like to establish that as a separate expense. Or if we want to add that to ARF, that's fine. Then we just increase that line item.
Okay, so then what's the difference between that one and this other miscellaneous line that's 270,040?
I just wanted that specifically for uniforms.
What's the difference in these two?
I'm sorry.
What is the difference? What do you use the other miscellaneous line for?
Stuff that doesn't fit into necessarily category, tools mostly. If we ever have to ship anything, there's occasions where we have to mail some stuff off. Like the state of Utah, when we do our wildlife permits, that stuff all has to be mailed. Not that it's a huge expense, but there's just different things that that we do or have to purchase that doesn't really fall into any of those categories. I think I decreased that. If it didn't go through. I think we could probably I thought I went in and changed the miscellaneous.
It went down a little. It went from 5470 to 5,000.
Oh, yeah, it should be 3,000. I guess I didn't save it when I went in there. And then there's just some fuel. I think did I put that in there? I don't have no idea what fuel's gonna do. We'll have to see after this
Right.
year.
Looking like it's gonna need to be higher, I think, because you're already up to 6,372
Mm-hmm.
right now. So if, unless gas prices come down, which, is possible, but
Right.
we don't know, that we're looking probably more like 6,500 or maybe even a little more.
Okay.
5 right now, but.
Vehicle maintenance is one that I'd kind of like to see what we come in this year at. We've had some things that we've had to get repaired. But with the newer vehicles, I'm hoping that will help offset that a little bit. So I just it looks like right now we're at what, 7729. And that's generally tires and batteries.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
with the lease vehicles, we won't be dealing with that kind of stuff, but.
mhm.
other-
But we still have other stuff that aren't lease vehicles that was, still need to be maintained. Filters for the fire truck alone I don't think they're like $600 just for all the filters on it. So yeah, vehicle maintenance is another budget cruncher.
Right,
I think that was
Renee-
it, right?
Hold on a second, let me just double check this cell phone allowance. Renee, off the top of your head, what's going on at the airport?
Tammy has the 90, and I think everybody else is at 40.
I think Mason has the 90 as well.
Yep, Mason does as well because he's in.
Yeah. And then everybody else should have the 40. I may have calculated that wrong. I don't know that if the new position got added on that, and my math could be wrong because I think
So 2 at 90.
And then
yeah.
1, 2. Does Tara take a phone? I don't remember. I can pull it up.
I thought so, but yeah, double check.
So that would be 1, 2.
Because we use our phones all the time
Yeah.
for work, as I'm sure all the departments do.
As my computer thinks, I think we have 5 people who get the 40.
With or without Tara?
With Tara.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. I think I counted some positions that aren't filled right now. And that may be where my number came from.
Sure. I'll pull it
Okay.
up as it gets closer.
And then let's go over your capital equipment. So there's a storage container, 2 vending machines.
Yeah. I have a little bit different list. I shared it with you earlier, Chris, in Google. But as far as equipment, that's all I have for equipment. We're in need more so projects.
Okay, so this is, let's see, let me, I think it's in my email, I can bring it up.
I wasn't on the county network, so I couldn't get into Casella.
Yeah, so maybe, so these are like the one that you just sent has like the larger, I think,
Yeah,
capital requests.
yes, yes. If you go to, yeah, the tab that, there you go.
But I did have was one pretty significant question in here about this $1 million.
Yeah. You know, it's an item that is definitely needed at the airport. It's also a revenue generator. It's a wash bay facility for the rental cars. You know, that would be a county-owned facility that gets leased out. You know, and again, if this is something the county can't do, I totally, you know, I get it. But that's one way to look at it is we would make money back off of that building. So, and I don't know exactly what the price tag would be on that. You know, commercial buildings, I think are like $480 a square foot right now, let alone adding in wash equipment. So that's definitely one we can play around with a little bit more. But it's something that's needed. Rental cars are a huge revenue generator for us right now. And we're,
I guess, you know, the issue for me is this is like private sector type stuff. And so if it's such a big moneymaker, how come the car rental companies aren't doing it?
the car rental companies do want to do it, but they can exclude any other car rental companies from doing it. And then they generate all the revenue. And ideally on airports, it's the airport that wants to generate the revenue off of the activities that happen.
Well, yeah, something like this would require a business plan. I mean, we wouldn't be able to approve this without a detailed business plan on it.
Did they go, you know, because I know water was a big concern if it was even possible.
Yeah, it's possible with the water that we have.
If they did that study, okay.
Yeah, we would have to add a couple more pressure tanks, but the water in our well, we have plenty of.
We really have the, you know, I just don't see that being a priority for spending $1 million at this point myself.
Mhm.
You know, and, you know, I wouldn't, you know, generally speaking, I don't think that the government should be getting involved in certain private sector type things like that.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, the FAA comes in and says, no, you should be generating revenue wherever you can.
But this is something that other airports do?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Is there any revenue estimate for how much it would bring in? Like how long it would take?
No, and like Chris said, we'd probably need to put a business plan together for that. This has been on the list for a couple years now, so it's a carryover.
Remember this one. Yeah, just overlooking it.
So maybe it makes sense to at least get a rough estimate just to see whether it comes anywhere close to being a good money-making investment. And then maybe next year.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're proposing to get a loan for this, Tammy. You know, anyway, it's just something we would have to see a business plan, you know, a realistic business plan for it.
Okay. Yeah, and that's fine. We can,
you know, and also tackle it, you know, when we're not in as tight a financial.
yeah, okay. All right. Then we can move on from that one. The rest of these are carryovers from, most of them are carryovers from last year. That, or from 22 that didn't get completed. The building drainage that will happen when our SRE building gets built. So that will happen. And that may be a high estimate for that. We won't know exactly until we get into digging in the dirt and putting that in.
And try to sort this by,
But drainage at the airport's a huge issue. If you don't get the water drained away from your buildings, the foundations sink and crack all your floors and distort all of your walls. And we have a hobgobbled drainage system right now that is effective in doing that, but it's not a long-term quality fix. So when we have contractors there and materials, it'll be much cheaper to do it while they're doing the other building. So, and that's a maintenance, that can just be done as a maintenance item. So that should be able to be covered under either of the CARES or CURSA or ARPA. I can't keep track of all the grants. Electrical for the food truck, that didn't get done in 22. That price tag is on the higher end because things, I don't know where they're going to change. It was A&E gave a quote of $6,800 to put in a meter. So that's a rough estimate for off of the estimate we got from A&E. Billboard maintenance, that is something we charge money. We charge for. Most of the plywood's starting to rot out and fall off. The lights haven't worked since, I don't know, 8 years ago. So those need to be revamped. And that would not qualify for any of the grant money. That would be
well, we'd have to make sure that the lights were are compliant with our dark skies ordinance.
yeah.
Do they
For
shine down or up?
They're shining down currently. But what's there is so obsolete, it's gonna all have to be replaced.
Who's renting it now? Are we?
There's Skydive has 2 or 3. And who's is it the Chamber that's renting the one, or is that Travel Council? There's one that says thank you for visiting, come again or something. I think there's one that's empty right now.
How many billboards are there?
5. So well, there's 3 physical structures. The 2 on the highway are double-sided, and then there's one at the entrance that's double-sided.
Okay. Then we've got the design for solar farm.
Yeah, so there's some granting opportunities out there for solar, and so I think we need to get a plan together, and that will kind of coincide with our ALP update that we're doing this year. So once we establish that area on the ALP, then we can start moving forward with a plan and put in for some of that grant money and see what we can get going on.
Okay. All right. So that, yeah, normally the way that we do, you know, these deal with capital requests, we'll compile every department's capital request, then by the end of the budgeting process, we'll have an idea how much money we have to work with.
Okay.
Yeah, projects, and then we
Of course, yeah.
have to come back and figure out what we can improve and what we can't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
No.
and
what that's gonna be, but anyway, let's switch back over to the budget software. I wanted to, okay.
so
So right now, we're looking at 895,964 for the total budget. And I think we need to plug in that that's going to be covered by AIP 41.
Yep.
So let me just write that number down.
yeah, so for FAA projects in 2023, what we have on the CIP list, our matching would be 46,250.
All right, hold on a second. My brain won't be able to absorb
Okay.
at the moment. I just need to
Sure.
do something. So for the point for right now, probably, so we've got this AIP 36 in here, which is done.
Yep.
So I'll probably rename this account AIP 41, which is more or less the same type of grant.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna just plug in the total amount right now. Well, I'm gonna start a little worksheet because we need
Since
to.
Gabe's sitting there, do we know what the remaining balance is on 35?
I don't have that on me handy at the moment. It was-
Okay,
300 and something thousand.
but that's what I thought too. I thought that was the last number I saw. Because that one can be used more for these matching grants, and project type things. Whereas the new 41, is more strict, like 36 was, and will probably likely just be used for O&M and payroll.
Do you know if AIP 41 can be used for debt? We did use 36 for debt.
I believe so, but let me double check. I think all of those were set up that way, so that you could use them for debt. But let me confirm that for you.
Well, I'm gonna plug it in for now, and this, if it's
Yeah.
not accurate, let me know. But I'm gonna budget also to bring money in from that grant for debt service plus the airport's operations. So this is gonna be very helpful. So that's a total of 982,964 that we can bring in to the general fund. That will help a lot. All right, so now, were you saying you wanted to move over to Fund 56?
Yeah, for FAA projects.
Yeah, I haven't really quite plugged anything in, I don't think yet, but we can walk through it and see if we can pull it together here. Airport projects. So let's just start at the top. So the AIP 30 is done, right? There's nothing for next
Yep.
year.
Correct.
And then 31's done.
Yeah.
32 and 33 is done.
Yes.
34, what about 34?
That is done. I believe, is that the Blue Hills Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, road realignment. Yeah, there's, I think they're waiting on final. No, I'm sorry, that one's done. That's in the process of being closed out.
Yeah, I guess I need to know if that's gonna be closed out this year or not, because it doesn't look to me like I've gotten all the money. So I budgeted, it seemed like I had about $1 million left to spend this year. And we're only at 90,000. So that's one to check up on.
Yeah, that one, that one and SRE equipment, I think is sitting and spinning in FAA right now. But Gabe has submitted the paperwork for those to be closed out.
So, yeah, just let me know about that one, because I'll need to plug something in. If it's not gonna be closed out this year, then we should have a budget for it next year, whatever. it's gonna be.
Sure.
So then moving on to grant 35, looks like 329,000 is the balance. I don't think we spent anything out of it this year. Are we gonna spend any this year, or are we gonna reserve it for next year?
I think we'll probably use match for ALP update, which is 10,000, and then the 30,000 for the SRE building for our matches. But I bet the SRE building isn't gonna come out until next year, is my guess, because that project won't be completed out until 23.
I need to try to build something here. So tell me again what matches we're gonna draw off of for 2022 using grant 35, or is there anything this year?
There should be the ALP update, and that will be 10,000 estimated.
Well, the SRE building?
Yeah, and that's technically this year's project, but my guess is it won't close out until next year. And that's a 30,000. Oh, no, hang on. That project came in much higher. My list is old here. See if I can figure that out real quick. I'll have to get you a better number for that one.
Anything else this year?
No, not for local matches.
Yeah, it didn't, so I'm just gonna move it over, I guess. Doesn't let me put a worksheet on the 2022.
What does SRE stand for?
Snow removal. Okay, and then so now we're on to the snow removal from the building, which is AIP 38. So I had originally
Oh.
budgeted.
Sorry, you were talking about equipment then?
No,
That's-
I was talking about, so here's, where, if we're gonna, yeah, I think that actually what I do right here probably needs to actually go into,
Because equipment's been closed out. And that was 38, I believe, right? No,
9 is the equipment.
you're right. Okay. So, my bad. 39 was the equipment. And that one's been closed out. I don't believe we've received final payment, but it's been closed out.
Yeah, good number, right? So yeah, if it ends up, we're not gonna, get the money before like March of next year, then we'll have to leave something in.
No, it should be any day now.
Okay. All right. And then what about the building?
So building will not close out until 23.
All right.
And I'll have to
for
get you
this
the
year-
updated match on that.
Okay, so yeah, for this year, we budgeted 146,000 to be spent. We spent about 19,540. I guess what I need to know, is how much you think you're gonna spend this year, then how much
Gotcha.
you roll over to next year.
You're referring to our capital project list? That,
SRE building, grant 38.
oh, on 38. They're gonna do the foundation and all the hookups and stuff for the building. And I'm guessing that's gonna be the bulk of the cost.
Anyway.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. What I can do is, I can get back with you by next week.
Yeah, I mean, what I really need
More.
to know is maybe you can work with Gabe and Jenny Bass.
Mhm.
Because we need to know what's remaining on all these grants, what we need to roll over
Mhm.
next year. All, because, I won't be able to really fill this budget in accurately until
Sure.
that information. from
Yeah,
you guys.
and I didn't even think about getting those numbers for you, so.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing to set Jenny Beth on. So if you want to just shoot her a email when you get a chance. And
Yeah, and, let's see. I don't know that, I don't think we've spent anything on the actual SRE building yet.
Well, it looks like something got coded to it, both in 2021 and 2022, but
That's probably design.
yeah. So we've got like 83,000 in 21 and then 19,540 in 22. But anyway,
Oh,
I mean, these things don't need to be worked out
That's
right
weird.
now.
okay.
But I do need to know, we need to track the balance of these things because we have to, we have to budget for the full expense, even if we're getting reimbursement from FAA and, reimbursement from Grant 35, or not reimbursement, but contribution from Grant 35. It all has to be factored in. And so we'll have to finish building this budget later. We can go over what these projects are anyway.
Mhm.
So let's see, we've got the Blue Hills, which is grant 40. What was that project about?
That was relocating Blue Hills Road to accommodate the amount of space we needed for the safety area of the runway.
What was grant 34? Are they both the same project, but just different phases or something?
Yes, different phases,
is like-
correct.
But this grant 40 is phase 2 of grant 34.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we've got water feasibility in here also, a study.
That's closed out.
Okay, so we're done.
Grant.
And then do you remember how we plan to pay for that?
I'm guessing that was gonna be a grant 35.
Okay.
That's left over from Andy, so I'm not sure what. That would be my guess.
Okay.
If it qualifies.
And then with, we already talked about AIP 41, which goes into the general fund instead of this fund. And now we're up to AIP 42, the master plan.
Mm-hmm.
Has that one's been approved? We signed the grant contract for that?
Yep, that one's approved. We just formed the technical advisory committee, so we'll have our kickoff meeting here soon. The ALP won't take long to get that done. So that'll be closed out by the end of this year.
So it looks like we don't have a budget for it, but we spent like 3,000. So we'll need to make a budget amendment for this year also.
In that, yeah, so that will get reimbursed, that 3,000. That is when they do the independent fee study. And so that one always ends up initially coming out of our pocket. And then once Armstrong starts submitting for pay, request for payments, that gets thrown in there and then we'll get, I think basically how it works is that'll go towards the project as part of our match.
But yeah, I guess, you know, we just need to make sure, like, right, in these line items, we have to budget the full cost of the project,
Mhm.
including everybody's portion.
Okay, gotcha.
Even if we never budget in net amounts, we always budget, we have to budget the full expense and then all the
Okay.
components, you know, separately. So I need to know like what the total cost of this is also.
Okay.
And then the revenue components that will pay for it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot going on out there.
For the sake of the public, what does ALP stand for?
Airport layout plan.
You-
And just for reference as to why it's so important to have this done. All of these all these AIP grants you hear, that's Airport Improvement Plan. That's money that the federal government gives to airports to make improvements. In order to do these projects, they have to show on our airport layout plan. If it's not on our airport layout plan, you can do a project, but it's much harder to get approval to do it. So if it's already on our airport layout plan, then, you know, once we apply for that AIP for the current year, it's basically, it's all set, ready to go. So the FAA requires us, and we'll be doing this month, to set out our projects for the next 10 years on what our entitlement money, that's the Airport Improvement Program money, how we're going to spend it. And so all those projects have to show up on that ALP. And because our ALP is so outdated, the FAA is making us update it. So we had to bump that up on the list.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think that covers all the projects that we've got going on. We still have to figure out, you know, the exact figures for them.
And I can get that to you fairly quickly.
Okay.
Those exact figures, they're out there. I just need to get them to you.
All right. Then let's see. There are a few.
Do you want me to get them to you, Chris, or go into Cassell and just add them in?
No, I think if you could create maybe a spreadsheet for me, just saying, you know, that's some kind of summarization. I used to have an airport. There used to be I don't know if it still exists, but it's a big Excel file that I made that tracked all the airport projects, and I don't know if that still exists or not.
I don't. I'd have to look and see.
It's up to date. Okay, so yeah, that just review that, I guess, and I'll just, you know, we'll make sure. I mean, what I think would be easiest for me though is to have just like one sheet that had the totals that would be budgeted 2022, 2023, and then the revenue components also that go into it. So, you know, some of these are going to probably be 100% FAA.
I think I've seen that form, so I'll track it down. If you want, I have the project costs for the ALP right now. And then our match is it 5%?
Okay. Well, just send it to me when you get it all pulled together. I mean, if I could just have one sheet that covered all these projects.
Yep, I can do that.
And we'll just need like total expenditures we're
Yeah.
expecting.
And so that, yeah. Yep. That list, that $46,250, that's gonna be not correct. So I will get you all of those numbers.
All right, thank you. Let's see, and then there's maybe a few other revenue line items. Just look at, if I can find them kind of mixed up. In the general fund budget here. Okay, so we've got airport fees. We're kind of tracking below what we budgeted right now, and I don't know why that is for airport fees.
Hmm,
And 3413. Last year, we closed out with 42,358,
right.
but thus far, we've only brought in about 23,000 in 2022. So I don't know if maybe there's some entries that haven't been made. I'm not sure.
I'm wondering if that's the case. Is that just, like parking and, shuttle vehicles and stuff? Is that those airport fees?
Well, these are billing, so this must be something that Cassie was working on because it's, I can't.
Yeah,
really
it stops. Okay.
tell. There's,
Um,
I guess we'd have to look into the accounts receivable module to see exactly what these are, but there's
Yeah.
something that Cassie was invoicing. But we're way low compared to what I think we should be. So maybe make a note of that, check in on that with Gabe. And then vending. Maybe a little under budget on vending too.
and I expect that to change. We just increased our prices. And so September was much better for vending. And it didn't seem to slow people down. And then having, making some improvements on our machines and stuff will definitely help. We've noticed increases with switching some machines and stuff around and getting a working machine in the secure area made a huge difference. So, I anticipate increase in that.
Okay,
And then we're gonna add some new ones, so.
and kind of following, we're also, quite a ways down on parking fees. We hit 33,389 last year. We're up to 18,279 now.
And my guess is because we contracted with that parking service, so I anticipated a little bit of decrease in that, but we're making up for it in loss of labor, so. But the collections is much easier now. We're getting ready to add in a fee for not paying. So I think that'll help too, but that doesn't surprise,
It's low because people aren't paying.
pardon me?
It's low because people aren't paying.
No, it's low because we pay for a service now. It's like $500 or $600 a month for the tracking service and the collection of payments.
So they're not collecting I guess I'm still not understanding why it'd be less though.
Because one reason they chose to go to that system was it was costing so much in labor, payroll labor.
Okay,
Because
well, I
it took
still,
a long
no, yeah, and I get that. What I'm asking though is, are they not collecting? We're not talking about the expense side now, about paying for the service. We're talking about the money we're getting back.
Maybe that gets rolled into one line item.
No, unless are they taking their cut out before they pay us? Is that what's happening?
Yes, correct.
That's not really very kosher with the auditors.
It's the way all those services work though.
I believe that's how it's being done.
So they're taking their cut out, straight out of the proceeds and not billing us. Okay, well, I mean, I guess that would make sense. It's not how we typically do things, but maybe you just double check that that's the case. just so I can make sure, because if, you know, if we're paying them $500 a month to collect and they're not collecting everything they should, then that would just be an indicator to me that we should talk to them about it. You know what I mean? Because we're down significantly on that. Then ramp fees, for some reason, there's nothing in there. That might be like something you maybe need to get caught up on, Gabe, I don't know. I don't know if those come in, how, you know, Tammy, how the ramp fees come in?
You know, that's something we totally rely on Red Tail for. And I don't know that we've ever, until recently, like, asked them what their tie downs actually are. Cause on my billing sheet, you know, up until recently, when I started asking for those numbers, it was blank. And so it may not even have gotten billed out for most of this year. So I'll need to get with Jana Kyle and Jenna Beth and see if they've been paying those.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not showing that we've received any money.
Yeah, and it's a poor system, the way it's set up. We completely rely on them to report those numbers.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll have to check, that's another thing to check up on.
I'm sorry, what's that?
That's another thing to check up on.
Okay.
So yeah, just make another note to look into the ramp fees. And then I think final one is the big one, the airport leases.
Mhm.
We budgeted 295,000. And we might be, I don't know, I have to kind of crunch the numbers. We might be a little under budget. I kind of dropped that budget back down for 2023 to 272, which is relative to 2021.
And we shouldn't have a drop.
Well, it's not a drop compared with 2021, but for whatever reason, Andy increased it to 295.
Mm,
I don't know if he was thinking that there's new leases that have come on or we're getting more
possibly.
negotiated, but I guess my question is, you know, I just set it at 2021's level.
Yeah, and maybe some of that's with Red Tail. They have like 5 contracts sitting and waiting for approval right now, and there may have been increases in those. So.
Okay. All right, well, anyway, I just make the point that we're kind of playing it safe a little bit on that line. Some of the others too, I kind of, you know, Andy bumped some of these numbers up, but it doesn't look like we're gonna hit those numbers, so I dropped them back down for 20.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, I think that does it for everything we have to talk about now. Any questions?
Yeah, are we talking about staffing needs in this meeting? Or
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to go over any proposed.
so if you want to, on that that document I shared with you, down at the bottom, there's a staffing needs. And what I have proposed, well, I've discussed this with Renee a few times. Right now, I'll let you get there.
Is it?
It should be over more. Oh, where is it? Maybe it didn't get shared to you.
Yeah, okay.
It was on mine. It shows it right next to revenue. Oh crap. I can just kind of do a brief explanation for you. Let me see if I can.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so what I've proposed, because I know a budget's tight. But we're stretched pretty thin, and specifically on our ARF coverage, which is aircraft rescue firefighters. Right now we're down to 3 of us. And what I'm proposing is, last year, or for 2022, we did add a position that included ARF. We did hire somebody and then he's already left and gone. So what I'm proposing is to put a hold on the airport operations manager position. Bumping up the 2 airport operations specialists to shift leads. The way they work right now is they work an 8 on 6 off shift. So Thursday through Thursday, Mark will work, and then on Thursday, everybody overlaps and comes in, and then Mason will work. And that works really well for us because it covers weekends and holidays. So we've added a 3rd wheel, so to speak. And the downfall is do we, where do we throw that person into the rotation where we're still getting coverage 7 days a week. So what I'm proposing is that we add another ARF tech. That gives us 2 ARF people on shift every day. And then bumping the 2 specialists up to a shift lead, and they take over duties of the airport operations manager. I don't want to eliminate the operations manager position. I don't want to have to, come back and say, no, you need to add this, but if maybe we can just hold it until future when we can budget again to have that position filled. And right now, given our current staffing, nobody can call in sick. If someone calls in sick, I have to pay the other guy overtime to come in and cover. And if one of our landside people gets sick, they, I either have to fill in, or the ARF person then has to do their job and another person's job. And so we're running pretty thin. And it showed up big time in our inspection that we just had this week. In fact, Grand County will be getting a letter about that. About our staffing is pretty thin. So this is my proposal to help accommodate our, I know our budget's tight this year. And so this was my solution to getting the coverage we need without we're adding another position, but we're holding off on one to offset that cost. And so I'll send this to you here in a second when I figure out how I did this with my screen.
I do have it on my list. When we looked at it kind of mid-year, and it was a goofy time just because you were coming on as director. So that being said, at that time it wasn't going to be any difference in what we had budgeted for 22. So
okay,
we'll look at it again. But yeah, will you CC me on that when you send it over?
yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's what I'm proposing as far as staffing needs. So
Okay, anything else you want to communicate, Tammy?
no, I think that's it. Tried to keep things down. Hopefully, the grants we've got will help offset a lot of that cost. So
Oh yeah, it can offset all of it. but of course, it's only for a limited time.
Correct.
The
Yeah,
problem with-
I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully-
the big thing- Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, hopefully, some of this, some of this is short-term stuff that, once we can use grant money for it, we don't have to worry about it in the future. And then we can, yeah, we definitely want to keep our budget to where we can maintain it. But some of the things, if we can utilize grant funds for it, and get them done now, it'd be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of realizing that this grant's gonna be mostly,
Mhm.
that AIC 41 is gonna be mostly spent this year, then
Correct.
we don't have another big operations grant on the horizon, do we?
Would say that again.
Gonna have another big grant like that on the horizon that I'm aware of.
Not that I know of. The only one coming up is an infrastructure grant. So,
Anyway, I mean, this could be pretty rude awakening next year to all of a sudden have to pay, $600,000-700,000 more than we were a year prior.
mhm,
Tax or sales tax.
sure.
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else for Tammy?
You were just kind of like the big picture on the grants we get for the airport, but you're saying for the past few years, we've had something that covers operations, but that's,
We had 2 grants over $1 million each. Still have, well, more than 2. We had 3 really. 3 grants that were over $1 million each.
related or stimulus related?
Kind of, yeah. Mhm. Yeah. The first one was a CARES Act grant, and then a different thing. I can't remember the names of them, but they're all related, yeah, to stimulus, federal stimulus.
Yep.
Prior to those grants, and how much out of the general fund were we paying?
All of it, yeah. It was
So-
entirely, I mean, besides
So are we
the,
going back to normal, or have the expenses of the airport gone up over the last 2 or 3 years?
oh, yeah, like everything, they've gone up a lot. So you can see that,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
Passes a year, they would-
but it's.
Well, the
2017
airport's
grant.
grown, the airport's grown leaps and bounds in the last 10 years. And the idea is to try to generate as much revenue as we can, because all airport revenue has to go back into the airport. So, we try to do that as cost effectively as possible. But just the overall busyness of the airport leads to a lot of this operational costs.
So yeah, I would say at this point, about a third of airport operations might be covered by their revenue. Where do you want to go? Okay.
Oh, no, I guess I just want to see total, what is it?
For some reason, it's on the bottom now. I don't know why. It must have hit a button or something. Used to be at the top.
Looks like it's doubled since 2017 at least.
Yeah, 2017 was when we had our big growth. That was when we upgraded the runway, the terminal, and had to add more positions. So
But
yes,
it
there's,
seems like the operating expenses have been going up a lot faster than the revenue. for the
Yeah.
airport.
yep, more people using the facilities. You have, the operations of the building, you got electricity, water, sewer, and then the people to maintain the facilities.
So yeah, definitely.
It's a business. It's crazy. It's not.
Anyway, we've got Christina waiting in the wings here.
Yeah,
One last thing, there was that revenue line that had AR billings through August.
That was the,
Just making a note to myself to follow up on some. I need to make a note of which one that was, sorry.
let me go, see if I can remember. I think airport fees was the one that had the billings.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow up on that stuff.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else for Tammy? Okay, thank you, Tammy.
Great, thank you, guys.
Okay, Christina, are you ready?
I'm ready and Brooke is on. I think if we could take CJC first, that makes sense. So she can get out of here, but CJC is
Yeah.
also probably our messiest of the three
Yeah,
budgets.
yeah.
Maybe start hardest first.
Okay, yeah, I had quite a few questions for both CJC or the Children's Justice Center and Family Support Center, so my brain can keep up here. So we'll start off with Children's Justice Center. And it's its own fund, and so wanted to start off just by reviewing revenue for CJC. So this says grant proceeds. It's not really a grant, though. It's a contract with the AG's office, right?
Correct.
So we've got a contract with state. And so you're estimating 101,783.
And that's a done deal because they're on a fiscal year. So we do have that amount going through at least the fiscal year, this July through next June. We're actually hoping to get it increased. Certainly won't go down, I don't think.
And then the National Children's Alliance grant is not happening.
They're not supporting any administrative grants anymore across the country. They do provide grants on an as-needed basis, mostly for, specific projects of equipment or assets. So I don't think it's going to help us, but there is a possibility we'll be eligible for a grant at some point. But they've eliminated that entire stable program, unfortunately.
Then you guys didn't put anything down for donation revenue.
Right. And one of our hopes is certainly to seat a Friends board, which we've never done. I don't know where 13,000 donations came from in 2022. Do you know, Brooke?
I have no idea.
Oh,
No.
that's just the budget, and it's based on, some pre-COVID amounts of donations, but we have brought in 2,909 to that account.
Yeah. So we'll definitely get some. So we should put some number in there. It's true. We have one really cool fundraiser idea. Brooke is not allowed to fundraise. It requires a Friends board. We just can't get any time or energy to figure out when and how to do that. But we do have some good ideas. And, Brooke's had a really big year learning the job and also really building relationships in San Juan County, which we'll get to. But our prior director really imploded everything in San Juan County, which is difficult anyway. So, I do hope we'll find some energy to help seat a Friends board and get some donations in the future. But I don't know.
Okay, so then in your request on the spreadsheet, we had $3,500 revenue lines, one being from San Juan County.
That is a big, huge hope. That is no idea how that's going to work out. I think the state director for CJC is from Monticello, and she's very well connected, loves Monticello. It's still very much her home and all her family's there. So I think she's going to be critical in us asking San Juan County to contribute, which they've never done before. She has some ideas about how to do that. She wants to wait until UAC to have that conversation because we can have all the right people in the room. That's a ways away from now. So I put it in there because they need to be contributing money if we're contributing money. But I still think that's going to be a painful ask. And I know time is of the essence in trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay.
And we should get into
There's
it. I mean,
another-
Brooke can talk to this, but last year so we get funding from the state based on the number of interviews we have, which is really a pretty effed up way to fund, but whatever, that's how it works. And it's a 5-year average, and then they drop the lowest of the 5 years, the lowest caseload of the 5 years. Well, our prior director
really did a poor job of tracking these cases because the administrative burden of tracking the interviews in the cases is a lot of work and really tedious. But we're having a hard time figuring out whether she just didn't track them or they didn't happen. But for example, last year, she only tracked 2 interviews in San Juan County. Well, this year, since March, Brooke has already had 49 interviews. So, I mean, what is going on there? We actually think that it was both that our prior director wasn't doing the appropriate tracking, but she also wasn't trying hard in San Juan County. Brooke is from San Juan County. She has a lot of family there. She's worked really hard at those relationships. Because this is a fluid thing and it's really changed a lot since Brooke has started, it's also kind of tricky to go down. And basically those interview numbers, by the way, are half and half. So, I mean, as of this year, since Brooke's been there, the caseload is half San Juan County and half Grand County. Is that going to keep up? It's one of our tricky things about trying to go to San Juan County and be like, well, here's our budget gap and you should pay for half. Because they're obviously going to be like, well, wait, this is only 6 months worth of data. So I don't know. I do think I need the state CJC to help us. They might be able to give us some one-time funding instead of going to San Juan County right now without the proper data. So Tracy's also looking into like, hey, can the state come up with this amount of money that we'd otherwise be asking San Juan County to fund? And then next year we make a much better pitch that's supported by better data. I don't know. Brooke, do you have anything to add to that?
I agree with everything you said. Yeah, no, we are looking at potentially having 2 different friends boards, one in San Juan and one in Grand County. So that might be something, but just actually having the county itself following through with paying for the expenses that I have going down there.
And Mac, by the way, talks a really big talk about being a huge CJC supporter, and his wife does what, Brooke, and is a big supporter?
I believe she has a degree in psychology and she was working in the schools. She definitely has a heart for the CJC for sure. But so
she
far
might be
everyone's
a
done the
great
same.
chair. Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they talk a big talk and then don't do anything. They won't, I can't even get Mac to respond to my emails, classic. So that's why the state CJC, I mean, we can't even get Mac to respond to simple like spacing requests that Brooke has and like really basic things about utilities at the space in San Juan County. And so that's why I don't really know how to proceed without the state helping us. I've also made it clear that like, you know, I don't want to take this burden on with San Juan County. San Juan County needs to take this burden on with San Juan County. But just so our budget advisory committee understands, the state won't let us just split off the San Juan County CJC because it's too small. There are some counties like Kane as to Washington County, technically as part of Washington County CJC, but Kane County takes much more ownership and involvement in it. And so they're considered a satellite, but Kane is still running their own CJC. The state would really like to see San Juan County do that. They understand how much tension there is between these two counties and how it's really just not functional for us to be trying to run the San Juan County CJC from Grand County. But so far, we just haven't been successful in getting that done. A huge part of why the King County model works is because the King County attorney is very involved. And so far, we haven't ever been able to get the San Juan County Attorney's Office to be involved. I do think Brittany, if she can get her feet under her, could be the right person to do that. But that's a long time coming. She's completely overwhelmed. She didn't ask for the position she's in. She can't hire anyone down there to help her. It's just not realistic that she's going to be able to help anytime soon. So it's a mess.
There was another 30,500 in there. And I didn't know.
Well, that's just, well, okay. So the 61,000 is what I determined to be our funding gap. And we can whittle that down a little bit. For example, we just had donations. We'll talk about almost 13,000 that I don't know that we need to include. So we might be able to whittle that down, but I was just saying, hey, our funding gap, to the extent the county is going to have to come up with funds, San Juan County should be matching the same funds. So that was the concept there.
Okay. Yeah. Also in the past, when I've reviewed the budget that we get from the state, there's oftentimes some like rollover money. Are you guys familiar with that?
I have seen that. I was assuming with Brooke's salary and everything that we use that up, but I have no idea where our rollover is. Do you know, Brooke?
No, I have no idea where a rollover might be.
There, I mean,
don't
there's
think-
always been like, you know, like this 29,570 is what Aubrey said. We had as that could roll over from the state budget. And we work that in every year.
I don't
I can't-
think
I don't- I
the
can't
state
remember.
is doing that anymore.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
let me
maybe-
look at the state budget that was approved real fast and see if that's on there.
But maybe we need to check up on that because Connie used to do it too, and it's always been that way. I mean, as far as I've been involved, but there's been some rollover money. Not everything in the budget can get rolled over, but there's some component that used to be able to get rolled over. I don't remember the details on it or anything. I just remember that concept.
I believe when they approved their new budget in June, July, there was communication that they weren't going to be doing rollovers anymore. I'm not 100% on that, but I do remember that there was a lot of talk. Which
We'll
I
double
did.
check though. I'm
Yeah.
not seeing it in the fiscal year budget stuff I have either from the CJC, but I never got a final copy. Brooke, I still need a final copy.
Okay.
So we'll double check that and let you know.
Yeah, and if you guys could send me the approved state budget, I'd appreciate it too.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to the expense side. So yeah, salary's gone quite a bit. Some of these line items, you know, are a little, it's somewhat different. So the travel must have gone up a lot because you're going to San Juan County a lot more, or I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right, and-
I'm going to San Juan County a lot more, and we have a vehicle now.
Is that?
And let's,
Yeah, what kind of, is it a lease vehicle or some other vehicle?
so right now Brooke is using a seized vehicle that the county attorney's office owns. It's pretty old and it's a total gas guzzler. It's one of those FJ Cruiser SUV things. So it's actually expensive to run down to San Juan County. And talking to the state CJC, because we have some expenses that are absolutely 100% San Juan County expenses. And this vehicle expense is one of them, and the gas expense. And you know, I'm like, hey, Tracy, they should at least be paying for this. This is a really easy ask. They pay us for this amount of money. Her idea was that there is a VOCA, a VOCA funded intern in the county attorney's office who could be helping a lot more in the San Juan County CJC. This person could open up the office for interviews and help upload the interviews to our video software. And, you know, some of that stuff that it is the reason why Brooke is driving down so much. And so, again, Tracy wanted to be part of the conversation about how the county attorney's office in San Juan County in particular could better support the state or the San Juan County CJC, but she didn't want to do that till November. So she was like, hey, at this point, I went and say, and so this amount, the 12,400 includes the amount for a leased vehicle plus the anticipated gas that, and we got those numbers from Cody. But she was like, hey, if the VOCA can help support, and Brooke is only going down for the monthly MDT meetings, this is an expense you could eliminate. But I
Right.
don't know that we're going to know for another month about what their position is on that.
And unfortunately, the new victims advocate in San Juan is
Oh, yeah.
essentially the right-hand person to Brittany right now and is at max already.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's
we'll have to
who,
see.
so the VOCA is the victim advocate, just for everyone.
So then this year though, what you charge that account is just gas?
No,
Right.
it actually, there was a mix of reimbursements on my car. And then I switched over to the FJ Cruiser. So yeah, the rest of it's just gas.
Right, so some mileage
And we're only
before we
at-
worked out that we had a vehicle for her.
Okay, I mean, we're only at 1,100 this year so far, so it's a pretty big jump to go up to 12,400.
Well, again, that's because of, I mean, one, that's only partial. And then that's because of the lease vehicle. I'm okay. I mean, Brookway Inn, given that we're gonna hopefully get some more participation from San Juan County
Mhm.
locally, and because we do have the FJ Cruiser, you know, for Brooke to use,
Mhm.
I'm okay, you know, revisioning that line item. But I don't know. We wanted to preserve a leased vehicle for her that's safer than the FJ Cruiser, newer, and not a gas guzzler. That's why it's in there.
Okay.
Right now, I mean, some weeks Brooke's going down 3 days a week. We've got to eliminate, like, we've got to figure out a better solution, and we are working on it. And so I do feel good to tweak that. So we could, out of version of it, you know, version 2, maybe figure out a better number to put there.
And to be fair, the last couple of years was COVID. So Aubrey wasn't going down to San Juan, I don't think really at all. She was doing all the MDTs virtually. So
Right, that's true.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this budget looks like we're kind of cutting things differently than what we're anticipating. Because there's.
I don't know why that in-state budget is so high. And so there's travel, that's where I put the lease vehicle. What is in-state travel at 5,000, Brooke? Do you know?
I don't remember. Do we not have notes there? In-state travel for 5,000. I mean,
Is,
I need to go up to no, I don't know why that's there.
is that also
Trying to see
training
that.
for other MDT members?
That could be. The expense that we spent on the symposium this year was around $3,000.
So here's the other thing, the state requires in our contract that we get training for our MDT partners. And this is all statutorily mandated. One, there was COVID, so that wasn't happening the last couple of years, but in talking to state CJC, it also sounds like our prior director wasn't effective at getting our partners to go, or wasn't pushing them significantly to go. But we did have we made that push this year. We made sure to get people at training, and yeah, it was about a $3,000 expense. So I think
and
that's what
This
that was
coming year
for.
is going to be I'm going to be having a lot more people going.
Brooke's done a
Take
really
look at
great
the-
job strengthening relationships with all these partners.
Okay, Brooke, take a look at this screen and see if you can remember what these per diem payments were for.
The 87, that's how much it costs to go there and back from Blanding.
Okay, so, but can you tell like what the difference is between this travel line item and your other travel line item?
You mean the in-state?
Because you're coding to both the travel and the in-state travel.
Oh, okay. That could just be my mistake, not realizing that they,
I guess I'm just wondering if we really need to use two different accounts. or
No.
not.
I don't think so. I think we just need
Can we take this
travel.
5,000 out, then is the 12,400 enough for travel?
Well, the 12,400 was for the lease vehicle and gas only, and didn't include the travel of our MDT partners to training.
Yep.
So they're two different things. I don't have a problem combining them, but I think we need to work a little bit more on what that number is.
Yeah, because I think it just seems like it's too much for probably what you need all travel together. Because we're up to like what, 17,400 between these.
I know,
two.
but this is a unique thing. She works in San Juan County up to 3 days a week. And the 5,000 isn't for her training, it is for the MDT travel expenses. So, I mean, maybe it makes more sense even to split that out.
That's not how it's being coded right now.
Yeah, how did you code the
Look at it,
MDT
it
training,
was
Brooke?
Brooks per diem.
Fair enough. That's I'm not sure. I'd have to go in and look.
Because in looking at the year to date, I can't figure out, conferences and workshops is maybe where you
Oh,
coded the
that is where I put
MDT
it.
training.
Yep, you're right.
So yeah, I don't know what that 5,000 is.
It's going away then. Okay. Then communications, I don't really know where you expect, we didn't really put a budget in, but something's getting coded to it.
that the main phone, like the cell phone?
Yeah, it's the Emory Telecom, so it might be internet, I don't know. Or phone, I don't know.
Okay, yes, that's going to be the internet.
Okay, so let me.
We also had to do, Matt's been great. We had major security issues over there before Brooke came in. It was a wreck, like everyone could just get onto the CJCs. Anyone can hack into the CJCs system, but Brooke has fixed that with Matt's help.
Okay, so 2,000 is enough then, to cover the internet bill.
It's kind of
Huh?
pretty high. Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem pretty high. But that's what they're charging us. I don't know. Might have to ask Matt maybe.
Don't we have, well, we have 2 servers or 2 somethings because,
We have 2 routers, but that shouldn't affect the bill, I don't think.
oh,
It's just the line in is what you're paying for, correct?
is 159 more than Emory's charging other departments?
Well, I mean, the courthouse's bill is one giant bill. It's just all comes in one big clump. So I don't know. I guess we'd have to ask Matt if that seems appropriate or not. I don't know.
I mean, I just think.
It's not how much
home
I pay.
internet service would be about half that for
Yeah,
households.
so I don't know. Maybe just double check with Matt that we're paying what we're supposed to be. All right, then utilities. So you guys share utilities with Family Support Center.
Correct.
Mhm.
I guess, you know. So there's that space cost. I don't know what that is. What are you planning on? Well, there's something's already been.
I assume that's like special repairs.
Yeah, the fire thing is the main expense. But I don't know, it might not be something that happens very often. We didn't budget anything for it, but it's got this expense in. It might.
So
be
typically,
something-
I mean, that fire inspection's interesting. Doesn't that happen every year, Brooke?
I don't know.
I think
mean,
it does, and usually
Okay.
the Family Support Center manages that. I don't know if in the past it was coded differently, or if in the past Family Support Center didn't invoice CJC, but did this year. I don't know. Then, for example, like the heater went out this year, and it was my understanding CJC was expected to pay for a portion of that. I
mhm.
don't know where that was coded. That's what I was expecting to see in that number.
In the past, it looks like kind of a hodgepodge, maybe even some miscuts because there's LMT in there.
Yeah, looks like it.
So last year, it's kind of, I mean, some of it probably is. So there's the fire inspection again. So yeah, we got to probably budget that for that at least.
Okay.
Okay. But probably 600 is more. I don't know. Unless, is there anything that's seriously broken or whatever that you can think of that needs to be fixed?
No, nothing seriously broken. I mean, there's a million ideas of how to like soundproof the building better, but outside of that, no, nothing's broken.
There's a lot of security issues with the building too, but Family Support Center is also leading, managing, fixing that. And I do think they're going to be able to get grant funding and or state funding to fix it. So I don't think we need to budget for it.
Okay. Then we got call out advocate.
What that is the CJC's share of the victim advocate program. And I don't know that this is where you code it to, Chris.
I put it there simply because that seemed to make the most sense. I don't know what else a call out.
Chris, I
advocate would
thought
be.
you tracked that in a whole different place, not in the CJC's budget, but we didn't want to forget to talk about it. So we put it there.
Tell
Right.
me what it is again. What is it?
Remember how there's the city and the county share a victim advocate. It's Nathaniel Clark now. And the city puts in some cash and does all the like kind, it's city employee. And then the sheriff's office, the county attorney's office and CJC each put in a cash part. And this is the CJC's cash part. But I actually think you just track that in a whole different place. I don't understand what's being coded that
What
4646.
is?
Oh, yeah, that is it, I think.
Name Monson. Who's that?
Those are from last year. I wonder if that was a fit trainer
Oh,
or
sorry,
something.
never mind.
That was a fit trainer. I recognize that name.
Hold on. I
She's
just
no
looked
longer
at-
here.
Let's get.
Yeah, that looks like they're wrong.
So here's the screen. So she's coded again this year.
Yeah,
There's
that's
one-
actually pretty common for other counties to use the on-call advocate as a fit trainer. But yeah, that the Moab City, that's for the victims advocate for the share of the Children's Justice Center.
Okay.
So let's see. If we're gonna keep, this is one where if we're gonna keep using it the way you're using it, it might be too low, what you asked.
Right, are you expecting,
We're already up to 4,600 this year and you requested 3,795.
Janie was a fit trainer, Brooke, or who is that? What was
Yeah,
her name?
that was the fit trainer that Aubrey had contracted that was living in St. George and would come
Oh.
over to do.
And I don't think we'll need to spend money on fit trainers this year.
No,
is there?
no, because I have a ton of new people who are law enforcement and CPS. Fit trainers, they're the ones who come in and do the forensic interviews. You would have to have certified people do the interview. And oftentimes children's justice centers will hire people out to come and be just a fit certified interviewer. However, I have law enforcement and CPS getting trained through the state. So they come in and do our fit interviews now for both counties.
So then you're just putting down the cost of the victim advocate, our share of that?
Yes, I will not be
Yeah.
hiring out a fit trainer. It will, the only expense I'll have for out of advocate, as far as I know, because I haven't done a full calendar year yet, is the expense for the victims advocate, who I use a lot here in Grant County.
Okay. Then professional contract services. I think this was kind of, I always would put some of the rollover money into this line item.
Oh, we were wondering what that was.
What's
let's
this
see.
3,000 spent on that to date?
It is the.
Oh,
Oh.
that's where the I didn't know where to
Accreditation
put
fee.
that. So the NCA accreditation is a 5-year, every 5 years, there's an accreditation due, and this one was due before I was hired. And in order to apply, you have to pay X amount. That is for this time. In 5 years, I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be around 5,000, if not more. So I would like to have at least premeditated budget where we're putting away some money every year, so we're not having to spend $5,000 at once or
Can we do that,
$3,000
Chris?
at once.
Well, I mean, the way that you put away money is to have more revenue than expense.
Ah,
Your budget.
Well, FYI, in 5 years. we're
Okay,
gonna have this
fine.
Big fee again.
Huh? So, all right, so you didn't put anything down. I just wanted to make sure that, but that's not that's something we have to worry about for next year. But I
no,
mean, if we're not getting any more assistance from them, but we need to be accredited anyway.
We do need to be accredited. It's really important in court.
Yep.
And I think it's pretty lame. They took away the stable funding for administrative work and they charge you $3,000 to be accredited. But again, they do have these like project specific grants. For example, we did get a big grant from them to soundproof the CJC, which still isn't great, but they 100% paid for that in the past, so you can get funding for stuff like that. And it's potential that we could get more funding in the future.
yep.
All right, let's go to the cell phone. Who's got cell phone allowance? How much?
I think
So the
they
cell-
have a cell phone, so I think that's just paying for the CJC's cell phone.
Mhm.
Is that right,
And the
Brett?
cell phone allowance went up this year because I have to have a hotspot because I'm in San Juan often. And the internet actually goes down here at the CJC often. So if I need to get onto the state database, I have to have something that's paid for by the county. So I had to have a hotspot.
All right, so that's not getting coded to this line item right now. It just looks like,
I still have a phone allowance on you, Brooke, I think, the
yeah.
90 a month.
Shouldn't, so Renee, because the CJC has a phone, shouldn't she not be getting a phone allowance?
Yeah, yeah, correct. She
Yeah,
shouldn't have a
yeah,
phone
that
allowance.
sounds right.
Sorry, Brooke, that's gonna end.
Take it off. I'm
Take
fine with
it
that.
off.
You
That might
people need to
explain-
stop calling my personal phone then. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
The
So
hots- Colleen tells me that all the time.
your
That
phone
might,
should be,
Sorry.
is getting billed somewhere else, right? Is that in utilities? Your county purchase?
I think
phone?
you're right. Yes.
Okay.
Should be.
so
under
maybe
utilities.
the hotspot is why the Emory bill is more expensive than we think.
Yeah, it could very well be.
That makes sense.
Is your hotspot through Emory? They're usually through Verizon, I thought.
I thought my bill was through
Oh.
Verizon as well for the phone, but
Oh,
Emory makes no
Never
sense to me.
mind.
I don't know why it's so expensive and it's not very good service. I keep losing
I
internet on a
think
regular
that should
basis.
be looked into. That's ridiculous, to spend that much and have it go down.
All right. Let's keep rolling here. We kind of wait to go. So we, equipment and furniture, you don't need anything like that, or you didn't put anything down on that line?
I didn't put anything down just because it's not my priority right now. Everything's okay in both centers for now. So yeah,
Okay. And then, let's see, 1,000 for miscellaneous, 2,000 for supplies, which is, we're kind of on track to hit 2,000 this year. Although a lot more has been coded to that in the past. Anyway, then, food. That's a lot more than we have spent in the past on food.
food is a
my guess is that's
huge.
the difference in coding is somehow, my guess is Aubrey was coding food to supplies. It's for the MDT meetings.
My MDTs average about 150 a lunch, and I provide 2 lunches a month. And then I also provide food for the both CJCs, so it's snacks and drinks and keeping that supplied. So it's a lot of money.
Just to clarify, the 2 MDTs a month is one in Grand County and one in San Juan.
Mhm.
One of our ideas is to approach businesses and ask, approach 12 businesses and ask for 1 month donation of food every month. But we just haven't had the time to do that. And that's something the Friends Board really needs to do because it is fundraising.
I think the question is, is a lot of acronyms. What does MDT stand for?
I'm sorry, multidisciplinary team is one of the biggest parts of the Children's Justice Center. That's where all of the agencies that are involved in a case, that's the role of the Children's Justice Center, is to bring them all together and to staff cases and to follow the case through litigation.
So that's all obligated by statute. The MDT is comprised by the partners that are listed in statute, and then that monthly meeting is required by statute. So it's really important
Well,
that we do it.
At 300 a month, we're, looking at what, 3,600?
And that's just the multidisciplinary team lunches. That's not including the snacks and things like that I need to provide for both centers.
And conferences, workshops at 4,000. Okay, let me save this. I need to check the bottom line real quick.
At 4,000, that's where we put the MDT training.
Hold on, there might be more to the expense side. Let me check these others. We're also getting some things coded to some other donation expense, miscellaneous. Cycling through to see what's getting used. Anyway, that's. Let me see where our bottom line's looking at. All right, so we're 18,308 in the black. But the revenue side's pretty shaky, quite honestly. That 61,000 is a big question mark.
Yes.
So, I mean, to balance the budget, I'd probably knock that down by 18,000 to get it to net zero.
61, half of that's supposed to be Grant County, is that right?
No, well, not really, no.
That's not what they're-
In the past, we haven't really contributed anything to CJC.
But
We've
I
been
thought,
totally self-contained.
my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there was a $61,000 budget gap, and the proposal was that Grand County and San Juan County would each cover half of that. So-
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we haven't, like I said, we haven't done that in the past, but I guess that's where we're
Okay,
at.
so you're saying it.
Okay,
Not
so-
only are you skeptical from getting from San Juan County, you're skeptical of somehow some of the Grand County budget.
Well, I'm gonna try, you guys. I'm gonna do my best. It's taken a minute to get online down there, so.
Hold on a second, I'm doing some math. So bounce that down some. Just zero the budget out. Okay, so
So could you expand it? So you're saying in the past, this has been entirely funded from a state grant, but
well, not the state grant, the state contract, and then we lost the NCA grant, so that's a hit to revenue.
what's the NCA grant?
National Children's Alliance.
So the National Children's Alliance is the accreditation that I've been working on. That was the $3,000 fee. It's every 5 years. They did give out $7,000 in the past. And they're no longer doing that.
So what's going to happen, I guess, at the end of 2023, we'll see where they end up. And then typically, I'd only transfer in enough to balance the fund, so it doesn't go in the red, which would be illegal. But we don't know. I mean, so this is, what it would take to balance the budget if everything that was proposed to be expended was expended. And hopefully we can get some money from San Juan.
Okay, but are you saying in past years that number was always just zero or it was small?
Well, it looks like I budgeted 1,286 for this year to balance it because and I think that was because the former director's cost of living adjustment wasn't factored into the state budget, and so we picked up the COLA.
Okay, but then why is the gap much bigger this year? As expenses are up?
Considerably fewer donations, I guess. The loss of the National Children's Alliance grant.
Which was just 7,000.
Salary and benefits are definitely up, hiring a new director too.
And then also not having that rollover money. Rollover money
Yeah,
is gone. Or admit that you should check up on that, but with the roller money.
yeah, we will.
About 29,000. Right. All right.
Well, so Chris,
Good we
what,
can do.
okay, so Chris, we're gonna have this meeting at UAC supposedly. I mean, and I need a copy of the budget then, but I guess that's when I ask this. I start the conversation with San Juan County, but we don't really care whenever it comes in between now and sort of the end of next year. Is that accurate?
For what now? What come in?
If I said, hey, San Juan County, I need 20 grand for the CJC, or you can deal with your own damn CJC. We don't care when we get that money. And I kind of thought like, I needed a commitment from San Juan County by the end of the year, which seemed impossible, but it sounds like now there's more flexibility. We need to give them a heads up, but it would be really great to just get some money from San Juan sometime between now and the end of next year. So it seemed accurate.
To figure out an annual contribution that they want to make.
Yeah.
So that we know what the money's for, you know, is it for next year, is it for this year, what's it for? Or both.
Okay,
But
We
if
want it,
could
we want it
bring-
for both. We want them to give us 20 grand for every year.
Yeah, because we're gonna be probably, you know, coming in with more expense than revenue this year, and so getting something for 2022 would be nice also, in addition to getting something for 2023.
Right?
And I don't know how you guys wanna work that out, you know. Probably a interlocal agreement or something. I'm not sure
well, they're,
what they're
they
paying
signed
for.
this, we have a CJC MOU with them. It's a form, and so all of our partners sign it, but I don't know if there's a way to just work it into that or what. I don't know. We'll get with that. We'll think on that.
It's gonna be great. We're gonna totally get them on board. It's gonna be so good.
Okay.
Goodbye.
So on that point, Brooke, did you get all your case information entered?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. It's good. I'll get with Tracy then.
If, you know, between now and like sometime in December, you figure out that we're gonna get some other revenue stream or anything, let me know.
Okay. Will do.
Okay. are we
And we'll
ready?
follow up on the rollover as well.
You ready to go to, where do you wanna go now, Christine?
Either one. I mean, Julie is out of training, so she couldn't be here.
All right,
Are you
because
guys
that one's
done with
gonna-
me?
that
So
one's
you're
gonna-
done, Brooke. Good job. Your first.
Thank
vacation.
Yay.
Have
All
a
right,
good
we'll go to
Friday.
attendance so I can get a little break, because Family Sports Center is gonna be even worse than CJC.
Oh,
I
sweet.
know, it was
Perfect.
looking really good.
Uh-oh.
I thought that one was like. woo,
Good luck, you
done.
guys.
Bye, Brooke.
Okay. Here's the Grand County Attorney's budget. Any staffing changes that would affect? the
No.
budget? Okay. All right, let's maybe just focus on anything that's gone
The
up.
one update I have is that professional and technical services line item. The 30, so this is Carpel, our new fancy software. That 37,500 mostly included the initial one-time cost to get us started. But what we didn't do last year and we want to do next year is now integrate law enforcement software, because what we have to do now is duplicate data entry for everything for law enforcement. So now Carpel can talk to law enforcement, but it also has a one-time fee plus an ongoing fee. The one-time fee is 10,000. And then there's an ongoing $2,000 fee. And then for our current system, there's 5375 ongoing fee. So the total is 17,375, I think.
For what now? What are you talking about? I got lost.
This is our case load software, case management software. The way it's done is it's a software. So you pay for this one-time licensing fee and then you pay for annual support fees and, you know, whatever program
We paid,
fees.
we paid on this year.
I know. Yep.
So then how
Yep.
much do we need to budget for next year?
17,375. That's 53.
Right,
5375 for our ongoing support for our current program. It's $10,000 for a new add-on, which is the law enforcement integration, and it'll give us MPD, Moab Police Department, and the Sheriff's Department. Won't give us Highway Patrol. That'd be another $10,000, but we're not asking for that. Then there's a $2,000 ongoing support fee for that LEO integration. But the 17,375 will be what we need this year, and then that will drop a lot in the next year. The ongoing price is about 7,000 per year. Otherwise, I don't have any other changes.
Let's double check the cell phone allowance. So we got 1 or 3 at 90 a month.
I popped those
Well,
in earlier today, so.
The 3 attorneys shouldn't be getting allowances anymore because we have phones now. So
Cool.
I don't know how that's being billed.
You currently have the phones, Christina?
Yeah,
And then there's a 60 a month one for Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 paralegals for 40.
Well,
Yeah.
only Chrissy, that should only be paralegals. So Karen's left. So right now we only have one paralegal and we're hiring our justice court prosecutorial assistant, but that should just be one person. The prosecutorial assistants don't get it, just the paralegals.
So,
Yeah, that one.
all right, so just tell me, you know, what we need a budget for 2023.
So
So
that should just
Terry-
be one right there.
And one under the paralegal.
Yeah.
Okay, but witness expense gone up a lot.
Okay, let's talk about that. We put in 50,000 because mostly because of Blue Ribbon Coalition. So less, what we're gonna need less to do, assuming we go all the way to trial, is prepare an export report. He wants to come out and manage one more data testing to just show that ATVs make a lot more noise. Obviously, we've done this before, but law enforcement has always done the testing as part of their training, not post-training. And quite frankly, they're just not that good at it. So he would like to do one more data testing. That's to be determined. And then obviously his testimony fees. Now, in theory, we're going to share that with the city, but that hasn't worked out so far, sharing Les's fees because they do nothing and we end up doing it. And then also in theory, that actually would be split between 2 years because we're not going to get to trial next year. It takes 2 years based on the tier 3 we're in. So, you know, we wouldn't spend all 50. In addition, we've always had money in here for criminal witness fees. Colleen has all this experience with special victim cases. So we're taking some of these big bad cases to trial and being more aggressive than we have in the past. We need medical experts and they're expensive. So for example, one right now we just signed a contract for is $10,000. His actual, if we'd had to pay per hour, it would have been a $14,000 bill, but he did agree to cap it at 10,000. That's unusual, quite frankly, and he only did it because it's for seeking this emotional trauma charge against a child, for the benefit of the child. And, you know, he really wants to see us prosecute that. So he agreed to cap it at $10,000. But anyway, for both the special victim case witnesses and our sound expert for Blue Ribbon Coalition, that's why that number is so big. I don't mind whittling it a little bit, knowing that we should be splitting witness fees with the city. And this case is going to be split out. It'll go to 2024, but I wanted to put the whole thing in there for now.
Well, I mean, what would probably happen though is that we'd pay it and then they'd reimburse us part of it, huh? Maybe.
I don't know. Les is super cool. I think he would be willing to just split the bill. As long as we both want the same thing. You know, mostly our interests are aligned. But they're, you know, the city does have an issue with their noise ordinance, in my opinion. So, you know, I don't know exactly how that's going to play out between city and county in the litigation.
So the 50,000 was 10,000, is 40,000 for less and 10,000 for other things, is that?
I'd really like to have 20,000 for criminal for Colleen. That would only be 2 cases, 2 trials for the whole year for her. So that would be 20 criminal, 30 sound expert.
And then if
But
we
in
shop
theory, the
sound
30 would be split with the city. So,
it also split between 2 years.
right, but 50 was his total estimate to get us to trial.
Okay, so you've already split.
Right, but in theory, we should really only need 15 for the sound expert for next year, for example. But if it doesn't work out, that the city, maybe the city says, hey, we don't want this extra noise testing and we think it's important, you know, then we have an issue and we're paying for that. So I don't really know. I'd like to leave it there. That's why I put it there. I'm willing to whittle it down a little bit also.
Okay. Let's talk about inventory. I generally like to budget for what you're planning on buying. So
we have 2 old computers, mine and Chrissy's. They're Macs. The whole system runs on Macs. And that's because of the integration with the iPads and the laptops in court that's so groovy. Right now we don't need to replace them, but when a computer dies, a computer dies. So that's the cost of 2 Macintosh desktops.
So you don't have like a schedule? I mean, typically, but the rest of the county has, you know, a replacement schedule.
That's
know,
because you guys are on PCs. And as much as I don't like Macs, they do kind of last a long time. My computer is ancient and it is working fine. I want to say it's almost 10 years old. But Matt is surprised. For example, we haven't replaced mine yet. But no, I mean, I figured I'd replace it when it dies, but that's why that number's there. Terry really wants us to keep that number there, but I see that, you know, we spent more
Well-
like 5,000 this year.
I think, you know, what's gonna happen, or I'm sure what's gonna happen is when we finish off the tentative budget, the end of this month, it's gonna show that we're gonna have to make major cuts all across the whole county. And so just keep in mind that, you know, it's probably gonna come to you too. And, I mean, we leave it in for now.
Well, I'd rather take 15,000 out of my witness line and demand the city pay for half of that witness fee then.
All right, well, we'll see, you know, how it pans out. I'm not far enough along to know what the bottom line is yet, but I'm just anticipating that we're gonna have to make cuts across the board. So I don't, you know, like I said, I don't mind leaving it in now, but just be forewarned that we might be coming back to everybody saying, you know, look for something to cut in the budget.
Sure.
Anybody have any questions on the attorney's budget? All right. Now let's go to Family Support Center. My brain holds up.
Long meeting. You got some ways to go.
Yeah.
So we,
Oh, sorry.
yes. Could you in just a couple of sentences, I think you said that the Children's Justice Center is mandated by statute and funded largely from a state contract. And this Family Support Center, is that similar?
Well, we'll start into that right now. Okay. So let's just start off with the revenue side of Family Support Center. So we've received 10,955 in donations this year, which is really great, much more than we have in the past. And so somebody must be doing something, huh? Assuming that that's coded, right?
The revenue's gone up.
For donations, yeah, a lot.
Oh, donations.
Well, hold on, let me see. Maybe there's something weird going on. There's an invoice for 10,600.
Oh, that's because, so we got that donation from Christmas Box International. We're being more aggressive with them. We asked for them to pay the gap between Sherilyn's salary and Julie's. We had inaccurate information. They originally agreed to pay for that gap. We gave them the wrong number. That already agreed to fund that gap, and then they couldn't change that number apparently. But anyway, that's where that came from. They've promised to continue to support us more actively, and so I do think I can go to them and ask for $11,000, and I think I can get it. So I am going to do that, and that's why we left that number there.
All right. Some other line items in here, like prevent child abuse. I don't know what that is. I mean, in the past, we've gotten a little bit of revenue from it, but not this year so far. You know what that is?
It's my understanding, they have several events per year. Part of that is because we're required by our grant funding to do them. They've never used them as fundraisers in the past, although I know some of them you could. It's not my understanding that they ever have, and I don't understand it. So I'm pushing Julie to, she needs to go through a year of these programs and look at them herself, but I'm pushing her to convert any programming we can into a fundraiser of any sort. And she's sort of looking at that. And then again, we need a Friends board. And our concept is to use the same Friends board with the CJC and the Family Support Center, and hopefully bring in some more donations, but we don't
So
know.
we have fundraised in the past, $700, so just be aware of.
I think those have just come in. I don't think it was any energy put into it.
And then we got our Canada contribution, which has gone up a lot. We budgeted 110,000 for this year and next year to kind of balance their budget. But I haven't really recalculated that yet. This is just a request. I think that when we get to the bottom line, we'll have to reassess that. So now we're moving into our grants. TANF is gone, right?
Mm-hmm. But they moved it into the governor's office, so it's still there, but it's renamed.
But we don't, yeah, but we're not recipients of it, right?
Right, TANF does not exist anymore.
Then, so then we've got a DHS grant and a DHHS grant. I don't know what the difference is. We got a new one. The DHHS grant is a new one, right?
Right, all they did was they got rid of TANF and then the governor's office agreed to pay the same amount. So it's the governor one is replacing the TANF.
So what this number, though, but this is more than we were getting from TANF.
Right, it's slightly higher, which is
I
great.
mean, not in the old days. In the old days, we'd get that much, but then they cut it in half. So anyway, this is based on an agreement that we've signed or something.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's on this commission meeting for ratification.
I think you sent that to me, Renee, right?
I think Gabe did, but yeah. it's in
Or
the email.
gave somebody.
Yeah.
Does that number look right? Let me get my email, because I just saw it, I think, yesterday or today. But it was signed. It's going to be, so there'll be a component for this year too. I guess, Gabe, what we need to figure out is like how much we need to plug into the budget for this year on that, if there is any. Then next year too. This is what I think Julie put down. And then there's this expense reimbursement. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but we have been bringing money in on that. Although it looks like there's this code's in here. There's some Visa charges that showed up. One of them's got backed out. Then there's some more billings. You know, okay, one thing that I just kind of maybe suggest that Jenny Beth does instead of, you know, these descriptions for the AR entries, always just say billings. You can never tell what that is, you know. And I think that having better descriptions for those AR entries would be very helpful.
I wonder if it's in a weird spot though, because when I get an invoice, it has descriptions on it. I wonder if you should go like a different screen to change that.
I mean, it's something about you probably just have to manually type in a description when you make the entry somehow. I'm not sure. I've never used that module, so I don't know, but it'd be nice to have more better descriptions. Anyway, I'm not immediately clear on what this revenue line item is, but we have received quite a bit of money in the past through via expense reimbursement. Let's go back the year before and see.
It might be, my understanding is with the building, that the state reimburses us a lot for things that we're paying for building stuff. Does that make sense? Doesn't look like that matches any of that stuff though.
Last year, there's a Utah Office of Tourism. What's that? Is that a miscode?
Must have been miscode. That was before, I mean, that was, I guess adjustment would, I take that to mean miscode. Yeah.
But it's an adjustment that's putting revenue to this fund. I don't know. Anyway, there was no request for anything out of that or coming from that for revenue.
So for the DHHS, that 101, that's the number that's outlined in the grant. So how in the past, when we had TANF grants, that also operated on a fiscal year, correct? How did we break that down to account for a fiscal year?
Well, we just kind of hope that it's going to be renewed midway through.
And what I sent you this morning sort of included amendments for the following 2 budget years as part of the agreement. So I think
Okay. So then we'd have to calculate like half and half, tie them together. Whatever half of one is and half of the other. If there is an adjustment. So anyway, this, long story short, the majority of the revenue is coming in on these 2 grants. So then this budget's a bit different from what the request was because we haven't, we created this new department and accounts, and we haven't moved the, I think we have to do a split allocation, Renee.
Okay.
So we'll probably, I think what you can do is like,
You
go
can
in
split
here,
it in there.
just send this to Excel and then
Yeah.
copy it over to this new one. And then in here, you go in and do split allocation. So you do 50-50
Yeah.
in one of these somewhere, there's an allocation. You can just put 50 and
Okay.
then do that on both sides.
Perfect. I'll fix that.
But all of the staffing stuff is, all the staffing budget is in here.
Mhm.
It's gone up though. What we've gotten is much higher though than 2022 in total. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Julie came in a bit higher, but I wonder if I have the hours goofy on somebody. That's quite a bit higher. than-
Yeah, some seems pretty off with that.
Yeah, I'll check it.
There's a big request, Christina, for overtime, like a total of $7,500.
So what I do know is she is trying to get, and this would be grant funded, she's trying to get another part-time on-call person. And the way it works is it's refunded completely, 100%. So I don't know why that overtime is there unless she thinks she needs to show it there, even though, and I guess she does, even though it would be grant funded.
And is that
Um,
3,500 for the on-call, the
Oh, yeah.
OC she's got there?
Oh yeah, I couldn't, on-call didn't work for some reason. So there's 4,000 for overtime, 3,500 for on-call.
Is she thinking that's for the position? Because we can just code that under regular salaries, not this on-call.
I
'Cause
think
the-
she is. I think for the on-call, that is what she's thinking. And then we would need to show that that does get grant funded once you show what they did.
Sure.
So I guess that's really 4,000 overtime request.
On the Family Support Center, we run their on-call a little bit differently than the rest of the county. Where the rest of the county, we pay 1 hour of on-call at their regular rate. For family support, we pay $1 per hour on call, but they can do up to the 24 hours a day. So I think that amount could be slightly less than the regular on-call.
Anyway, can you make a note?
Yeah, I'll
Revisit
fix all that.
Renee, and that shift some of those positions over to the new budget.
Sure can.
The tricky thing is gonna be this year though, because we're gonna maybe end up with TANF and DHHS, both in the same year. We need to figure out how to budget for 2022.
Okay.
And that's gonna be difficult, I think. We need to do it. Okay. And again, this is another budget that's, similar where the we're kind of using line items in a way we haven't necessarily in the past. And
I think Julie is pretty confused about how to code things. I know she's met with some people in the clerk's office, but we probably need to do more of that.
yeah. Kind of hard for me to interpret, some of this stuff because it's so much different from anything we've done in the past. Like there's no request for travel, but we've only coded a little bit to it this year. So no request next year though for,
My guess is she's putting that into trainings. What does she have for? There's a transportation line, but it doesn't look like she has that. There's workshops and conferences, but that's low.
We need to have her here.
Well, she had a director's training and I didn't want her to miss that.
Would it be have her here at another time?
yeah, I
Another
mean, I
day,
am kind of
because-
thinking that I'm not going to be able to interpret this, but
Yeah. It doesn't, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
so
I don't see where she's put in her trainings that she needs, so I do think we need some money there.
But I guess, we need to look at the bottom line, even with the $110,000 county contribution, we're still 49,000 in the red.
It's a mess.
So it just seems like, I think this one probably needs to be postponed. Because when I was looking at, just looking at the request, it was hard for me to interpret it. And it would be even harder for me to interpret it in this circumstance. But normally with these grants, we have like a budget that we submit that has line items in it.
That's definitely the case, and that's where those numbers would come from.
These ones are straight out of the
Yeah.
grant. And is it the same? So, it seems like we're now, the old DHS grant is here and the new DHHS grant's here. So this budget should reflect the budget that we submitted for the DHS grant. I don't think it does. So anyway, maybe you could see if Julie's available next Friday.
Okay. You said next Friday was already full, but so how would that work exactly?
Well, it might run the meeting long, I don't know.
Okay, well, let me know what time frame she needs to be available and then I'll find out.
Between 1 and
Do you want her
5.
to take another look at this beforehand or that doesn't help because she's working off a spreadsheet anyway?
Well, I mean, one thing is like this budget that's on the DHS grant should be reflective of what's in the grant budget. Both of these grants have budgets with line items. And I'm just, trying to make sure that the grant budget and our budgets are synced up together. But we're also, like I said, almost $50,000 in the red still. That would mean to balance this budget, I have to add another $50,000 of county contribution. Which doesn't seem right to me. I feel like there's something wrong with this budget.
I sure hope that's not right. Okay,
So I think, I could send detailed ledgers and any report that she needs to try to assess how things have been done in the past, but it's
her
just-
spreadsheet didn't show the 49. So I don't know what, and she's new at this. So I also don't know what she's supposed to look at too. Hers showed 0, like it showed it balanced. So I don't know what to tell her.
It could
to
be
do.
in the salary and benefits that Renee needs to review. Because the salary and benefits went from 141,000 to 220,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't seem right. I mean, she's making more than Sherilyn, but not that much more.
not that much more.
So I
No.
think most of it's probably in that, and I think Renee's gonna have to tackle that one.
Good luck.
But we'll fix that, and then, just the other thing is to have her look at the DHS grant and check, you know, it looks like we're creating two different budgets essentially for each grant. And I want to make sure that that they're respective of the amounts that we submitted to DHS for the budget.
Okay, I'll copy you on my email and you can correct me if I don't adequately convey what we need.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other things like, for instance, you know, we've got power and heat, which are the utility line items we use. But then she added another 2,500 in just this other utilities line item that we don't use. So that's probably like more extra expense we don't need in there. I don't think we're adding.
We are asking the city to pay for that water sewer garbage. I think they will do that. I've already made that request. So I'm hoping that's going to be a 0, but we are, Carly said she'd get back to me next week. I didn't realize that they weren't already doing that. The city wasn't giving us that contribution. So that seems like an easy ask.
Yeah, and then some of these other ones, you know, like anything, equipment and furniture is substantially higher. So those kind of things I like to see, just like, you know, a list of what needs to be purchased.
With like quotes, itemized quotes and things of that nature.
And then
Okay.
the professional and contract services, you know, we typically spend like 1,500 and then she requested 5,000. Water, sewer, garbage, yeah, it's,
I will say these numbers aren't tracking what I saw from her. So I'll look at that first. And then I'll ping her on some of that stuff.
If you can feel free to include Jenny Beth on, and she can, you know, there might be things that she has on the files, especially with regards to the grants and those budgets. That
Great,
perhaps she can be of support.
will do.
okay. So yeah,
Okay,
let's
then.
Visit this one. Okay, and I mean, hopefully it would go fast once we get it tied down.
Yeah.
It might only take, you know, we can work between now and then getting everything figured out. You know, then maybe it would only take 15 or 20 minutes to go through this the second time. But there's just something wrong with it right now. All right, anybody have any other family support center discussion? Okay, thanks, Christina.
Thanks, guys. Carry on.
Get better soon.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if Mallory's been able to get the administrator, yeah, the administrative budget. Somebody wanna knock on the door and see if Mallory is ready
Yeah,
to.
she told me, I asked her, she said she would be ready today.
Isn't this fun?
We
Exhausting.
need to get better chairs.
I've been tolerating these meetings pretty well so far. Today's challenging.
So I know, we emailed at least about public defender one and maybe doing that today, but Quinn did the commission one. So they are all 3 ready. It's really hot here.
Well, I didn't.
And I,
yeah, it's really, let's turn that down.
I'm never hot.
I just thought I was tired.
I didn't put the PD one on the agenda though.
So next week,
Yeah. But I already kind of had it penciled in for next week, PD one.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
I don't know how much longer I can make it either. quite honestly. I'm not feeling very good.
All right.
So, all right. We're gonna start off, Mallory, with the administrator's budget.
Okay.
And I think we want to just like cover requests that are
Yeah.
notable or more than 2022.
That's a lot.
So
And
maybe you could just start at the top and work your way down.
okay, I have a quick question. So was it yesterday, Renee, that you added in the actuals for salary and benefits?
But I haven't put in anything in that's proposed for 2023. So the grade increase isn't into the actuals or into the.
But it's going to increase. No matter what, benefits are going up, estimated 24,000-ish. Between benefits and salary will go up 43,000 from what you put in. So that being said, we actually aren't going up as much as it seems to pull that out, which we can't control. So we are proposing a grade or a grade adjustment for the commission coordinator to take on some communication, like social media, newsletters, various duties. So I know that's just something I need to put out there and not touch the money. So please note that. Subscriptions and memberships. There is a decent increase with that one. I also think there's a mistake in the 2021 actuals. It says $61. Maybe it was just $61.
Subscription membership. So for 2022, that's what we got. Credit card charges, so I can't really tell. What that's for. Did I hit the right one? Yeah. I'm not sure. Does it ring a bell, these numbers at all?
You know, but whatever it is, I suppose we probably want to carry those over, assuming they are subscriptions and memberships. But also potentially Alicia is a notary now and looking at e-notary, and that's $410 a year, Canva subscription, and I imagine a few others, but
And
I
what are-
can't really
so
tell.
What subscriptions are we? So we got eNotary, what else?
Canva,
What's that?
it's a graphic design, flyers, various.
It would be $155.40 a year.
Yeah. 40. So not knowing what the other ones are, I do think that would put us right around just under 1,500, as I guesstimated. But again, it's hard to know what those three were that are just on a credit card.
Can you ask Chrissy to dig up invoices for those or receipts? Or?
Yes.
So yeah, I'd just like to see a list of what it all is.
Those are the two new ones. We'll find out what the other ones are, but it looks like. Yeah, I don't know. That would have increased. Strange numbers across the years.
I bumped the budget up on it for some reason. I can't remember why. We must have added some subscription. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is right now because I bumped the budget up this year for some reason.
Could it have been DocuSign?
Could have been, yeah.
Because DocuSign and Zoom we're going to at least propose that those go under MAT. In essence, countywide. So we didn't incorporate any of those numbers. So if that is any of those 3 charges, that would bring this number down a good amount. So we can report back once we get
Tell me-
those.
You guys will need to let me know that, because we already went through Matt's budget, so if we have to go back to Matt's budget, I need to know that.
I think he incorporated it.
I don't remember.
What was the one number, Chris? 522.48? It's like.
522.48.
Okay.
I
And these
wonder,
other ones look like,
I bet one is the annual registry for the MBA. So that's a tiny one. So we could, I imagine if Matt is picking that up, DocuSign and Zoom, it would come down quite a bit. We might just need to do the entity for 25. I'm fairly certain that's what it is. And then Canva e-notary. I'd
okay,
say we could drop that. We'll look and see.
and let's go to public notices.
So what we talked about is it's really the same difference of the commission and the commission admin office for what it's code to if there's a public notice. So just zeroing out that line for the commission and rolling it all into ours. Which if you look at the past numbers, I think that's pretty spot on.
So you're saying you're gonna move this budget for public notices over, okay?
Yes, so the commission's budget won't have, it will just be 0 for public notices. Let's see. The next one would be travel for conferences. And this is, yeah, I guess the main thing is it kind of depends on what folks find and want to attend for professional development. And then taking into account that there are 4 of us. I only like to travel to go to the beach, so mine will probably not cost much.
Or cost them long.
I
know those good ones.
Conference in Hawaii.
So do you know like what conferences we're talking about, or?
I think Alicia and Quinn have one that they looked at. You
Was for the NACO, they had a couple of different conference options, and we just kind of averaged out a cost based off of those, and then a rough average cost of what it would fly to either place.
All right, I just think we need to discuss the, what value is being added.
right, and making sure it's geared towards the professional development, right, and not just.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if it, like I said, I mean, we're probably gonna, and I kind of discussed this before too, just gonna be asking for cuts.
I'm willing to forfeit mine, at least in terms of airfare.
The ones that we looked at were very specific to administrative county duties across the country. So we kind of did a broad, but like focused and narrowed it down to only administrative or, city manager / administrator type classes or conferences.
So you're not including like the cost of the conference or that kind of thing in here, right?
Where did I put that? I used specific wording in there and then I tried to use it further down. So that actually would be including, I just put public or PD in there for professional development. And
So
say
the-
conference.
I mean,
/ that.
the way that we tend to code, so travel tends to be just like per diem. Not entrance fees or anything like that, so it'd be per diem and hotel rooms, that kind of thing. The
Yes.
entrance fees should be coded to schooling expense. Like any of the actual conference fees should be down as schooling expense.
Do you remember, maybe it was just the 7,000 was for the airfare?
For hotel and per diem. That's what, do you remember what?
No.
So I'm guessing from that would not include the conference stuff, but there is a little cushion in the schooling, which I just call professional development. So maybe it's that one you want us to also drill down a little more.
Well, I mean, it'd just be good to see like the tally. It's like, you could use a worksheet like this, just say airfare for ×4 per diem times whatever, because I mean, it's, I don't want to discourage training. 7,000 is a lot, like way more than we've ever spent. But
It's okay, so it's in here, right, of that would be the conference fee. It would be 600 to 700 times 4 flights, 1375 times 4 meals and rooms, about 2,000.
so yeah, the conference fees, we should cut down in schooling expense.
Okay, so that would drop it to 4,000.
And then this would go up by,
Well, maybe we should wait till we get to the
Okay.
schooling.
all right.
The 52248 is DocuSign.
So that will actually be gone.
Well,
Moved.
Gone from our world, gone from our responsibility to track, is that?
all right, but make sure that somebody needs to make sure that that gets related to me somehow.
Okay.
If it needs to be adjusted in Matt's budget. Because I remember talking about that with him.
But I mean,
But and he's doing that for yours as well, right, Rena?
I put mine in my budget.
Okay. When we talked to him the other day, that was.
It doesn't matter. It's all come out of the general
Yeah.
fund, so it doesn't really matter, but we just need to make sure it's somewhere.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll double check with Matt.
yeah, I think everybody knows. I struggle with DocuSign numbers. We've had a problem. Okay, and so we'll check with Matt and see if he's gonna do the DocuSign, just so we know if it's in our budget or not, and if it is not, then we'll subtract the 575. And then we will pull from the 7,000, the 3,000 for conference registration. Is that correct?
So yeah, conference, we can move that down, but I guess we can talk about that when we get to it.
Yes.
Next thing is notable, it's 3,000 increase in professional services.
Yeah, that goes along with just what we're doing in terms of processing platforms, the website, and the efforts to streamline things and pick up efficiency through our office. So we have civic clerk, civic boards, a few various things that are coming that while it's $3,000 more in that line item, I believe it will equate to more in terms of our capacity with staff and what we can get done, and kind of shifting to other areas that we need to focus on.
So which ones of those are going to be new?
Well, all of them. We're just, I do believe civic clerk and civic boards they were already paid, right? So that'd be the 9,000.
Yeah, I don't know if we've paid completely for this board one yet. But in sort of focus, 7,500. Like the other one's 3. boards and all.
That's sheet they have open, has a little comment on that.
So that's why I was only paid on Civic Plus, 2 payments to Civic Plus.
Two to Civic Plus, but we would have one for. Yeah, we didn't pay for all of one then. Because, see, we have 3,675. And then the other one says 2,500.
So yeah,
Do
we
you
paid
guys know what-
98, almost 99, or 9,900.
Is that
for
just
Civic
the
Plus.
price for the part of the year and then it will,
That's what we paid this year, right?
yes.
Yeah, so next year it's less.
But that's the only thing that's come out of this year so far.
Can we follow up on that? Send you an email and just so we can double check what
Yeah,
that
it might be a
will.
good, like to add another little worksheet and just list out all the different things and their prices so that we can see.
All right, I added on there also SM advertising. Not sure what that is, but Alicia.
So if we get into the social media part of communications, that would be any kind of social media advertising that we wanted to do. Big public event. It's based on a small scale though. Advertising is not that expensive and we can target it to focus on, local groups. It's just a
Like
small amount.
Workshop, public hearing.
Yeah, like a workshop, if you did it, if you wanted to do public hearings or workshops or anything like that, if you wanted to really push hard out to the public, it's just a little bit of money to add into that advertising for that. They have a minimum of $5 back.
We could check maybe with the, well, I was gonna say the travel council and see what they do, but they probably do a lot more than what we would be doing.
I was kind of roughly judging it off of the amount of workshops that we had this year and kind of like a $5 minimum, $10 maximum, because you don't need very much for it to reach very far, the way that you can set up your target audiences in that.
Cell phone staying the same. That's like, for,
We're at the 90.
then special department supplies.
Yes, so what that would be is specific department head appreciation, the kind of the above and beyond. I think of a number of our department heads who do not get overtime, who some weeks, might work 60 hours or miss the birth of their grandchild or give up their vacation. All of those are hypothetical, of course. Actually, they're real. And so just something small, like, hey, thank you for going above and beyond. We can't give you overtime, but we recognize that you've really gone above and beyond.
Didn't we budget for that already?
I worked some in my budget. Mine was more focused on county-wide.
Yeah, but it was like a big increase, I think, though, and
I put the I'm going back to my budget, but I put the barbecues, so the countywide summer one, Christmas party, and then 2,500 for countywide employee appreciation.
what was that?
I think I put it under my special department supplies.
So, yeah, all right. Christmas party, barbecue, employee appreciation, recognition. What were you gonna do for the appreciation for employees? Like the, what was it?
I hadn't totally drilled that down yet, but like one example is like the road crew during the big floods, doing like a crew lunch, smaller appreciation, things like that. New hire, small gifts, retirement gifts, plaques, pins, all that.
All right, let's see. I mean, there's kind of a little redundancy here.
It seems kind of separate to me. And I think the amounts are pretty small compared to like one employee's salary. So if you can convince
Yeah.
someone not to quit or to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can keep our
better job,
department
it's
heads happy
probably-
out of the,
it's probably money well spent.
Yeah, I think it goes to organizational health.
You know, where do you normally cut back the catering for leadership and stuff?
I pay for it out of pocket.
She's dead
told her
serious.
not
We
to.
told her not to, but she still does.
Oh, we shouldn't do that.
That's what we told her.
I didn't know if it was
She's
in the
been
But-
budget.
but
She's not
it could be
minding.
coming out of there, and that's a good.
Well, special department supplies would be keeping.
Would be-
Uh,
You know.
Public meetings were paying for shit.
And I don't, I mean, of course, it's not something I want to do forever, but I think it's,
Well,
Small,
let's just
nice
consider that also, you know, a budget for catering.
yes, that would be included.
Because this is where normally departments would do that, or code that and stuff.
All right. Dropping down inventory. So what we did with that one. Yeah, you can see a laptop for you. Kind of a tablet, iPad for if we go with the communication duties being added. Along those lines, some communication type tech equipment. And I didn't really know, I didn't want to put furniture in the next line because that sounds, like we're buying nice couches and such. But I think there are some needs that we have, nothing extreme. So I would be fine with knocking that down, but it's amazing how much chairs cost or a desk. I mean, I think we've done a great job being fiscally responsible, and I think all of us just gone with what we have and are okay with it. And
So
I
is
think
it for
that's-
your office or for the chamber?
it's for a couch in my office. No, it would be for all of our offices, if things are needed. No, you would,
So. Yeah, I mean, I have most of the stuff I need, I think. I got it out of the junk pile, but works for me.
we could, unless you object,
Not
reduce
anything.
that.
Make it two.
How about one?
One check.
1,500.
Right now, you've got $4,001 chairs.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't want to do them per item. Shot in the dark and
Well, with,
not knowing
you
what
know,
we really.
with inventory, I just kind of like to, like I say, make a list of specifically what you want to buy and how much each thing is, and then put it in this worksheet and see, right now it seems kind of nebulous what this 4,000 is for.
Well, I think it could be any of those things, but it sounds like we're all pretty content with.
Maybe we could go 2,000. Unless, you come up with a list that's
I-
more just, more defined.
I think 2,000 is just fine.
All right, training, certifications.
So something would be $5,000 for schooling for Alicia. And that's the allowable amount. It might be a tiny bit more.
5,250 in a calendar year.
And then the conferences or trainings. But another piece of that I would like to do is a certified public manager. I think that's about $2,500. And then, so from that, the rest would come out to, what? That would leave,
Well, hold on, let me just get caught. I'm gonna try to make it into a little worksheet so I can see.
5280 is the number of feet a mile. I think she said. 5 feet.
5250.
5250.
Yeah.
But like you, when she said that, I immediately thought 5 feet.
So that's for tuition for Alicia.
Yep.
And what's next?
and then,
Certified public
25.
manager.
yes, certified public manager.
How much is the certified public manager?
Approximately 2,500. And then the remainder would be that kind of nebulous training, but that's where we could, if we cover the conference, professional development
So would this
opportunities.
be where we like move that 3,000 that we took out of the travel one?
Yes, but I think, where would we get to that? 4,500 approximately left out of that 12, but I don't know, because that would cover 3,000 for travel, for conference registration, right? Yes. So I personally feel like 12,000 is very fair. Unless
Well, we need to
people
know what
want-
it's for though.
It would be for conference or trainings.
But do you have like the conferences you can go to, costs?
But that's where it would come from the prior item. correct?
Yeah,
Or
we,
for you
so
guys were-
we took 3,000 down on that one and I put it back in. So we're up to 10,750.
So that's conference registration. And then we need to have training. You wanted some training by it too, right?
Yeah, just kind of a,
Well, I mean, normally training is conferences.
well, I'm comfortable with 1,200.
I would be if I knew what I was going for.
Yeah, I guess there was just that piece. If you guys feel okay with that covering your training for the conferences and then for the education, and I feel comfortable with my piece. And I don't know if you want anything in there.
Not in this next year, no. I mean, I'm not certainly gonna come back to you saying you need to make cuts. It's gonna be the same with all departments. So I'll make my cut at the beginning.
Okay. I'll make my cut with it. Do you guys feel like that's
Oh, we make something
sufficient?
happen.
Okay, so we'll drop it to 10, what?
Any other discussion on the administrator's budget? Good, county commission.
This should be simple.
So it looks like,
Just this, I pulled over most everything.
Yeah.
Straight. I don't know that we want to increase to 750. Most people haven't used that.
yeah, I mean, since COVID especially, in the past, we've had some, 2018 was a big year, and we, prior to that, some other considerably higher commissioner expenses. It kind of depends on what's going on. So this is again where, the commissioners would indicate if they foresaw needing to travel or go to conferences. I don't think we heard back from anybody that said they need more than 750 though, did we?
No, I
Are
thought
you
about
going to
moving
there?
mine to 1,000 just because of the, now that we'll be going up to the Capitol on.
Well, you are,
Salt
you know,
Lake.
a little over budget. Oh, no, you were, no, never mind, you're not over budget. But if you spent like in 2021, you spent like 943.
Well, that was the year I was working really hard going up and trying to get the TRT done, remember? You and I spent many a time on the phone trying to see how we could. So,
would it make more sense just to have a lump sum for all the commissioners?
I mean, I'm just
Or a
do it
separate
this way.
line?
You can see we haven't really changed the names in the accounting software. But-
it might be just take that 750 and just say travel for commissioners, because some commissioners probably will never travel.
I think,
Some might
yeah,
travel a lot.
maybe, I mean, part of it might just be transparency,
Yeah, that's true.
because this ginormous over budget amount was a transparency issue in the past with one of the prior commissioners.
Oh, I remember.
These both, so I don't know. I think maybe why we haven't split out is just, just for that.
Reaction to that.
Huh?
It was a reaction to those big numbers. And
Well, I mean, there was just, one commissioner that went out way over budget,
Just like triple what the rest of us did.
more than triple, like 10 times.
So is there harm in?
It was
leaving it
pretty,
alone?
like, totally, and that was, the person that said we were being
So-
frivolous with our money.
so why don't we just leave it as is with the understanding that, we can, if Mary needs to spend $1,500 traveling, just take it out as a. other people want.
And that's what we normally do,
That's
because some people don't use any or less, and then we do move money around.
And then the stuff, we still have enough in the budget for going to DC, right?
That for the tails pile,
Mhm.
that's a different budget.
But I know, but we still, that's where I use most of my money.
And I think,
And I
yeah, we
get-
still have money in that.
And I want Jacques to start coming this year or somebody, so, because it's gonna continue even after, if I win, then I'll be done in 4 years, but we need somebody with the skills to do it
Okay.
after I leave. So there'll be 3 of us going next year.
Yeah, so for this legislative travel line, we have been, I mean, for that, at least the tailings pile one, it comes out of the money that we got from the state, which is sitting at the tailings.
Oh, I think that 750 is probably just me being out of control.
Because I
Yeah,
was,
'cause we don't normally. use
Yeah,
that.
no, that was, yeah, it's probably.
because I'm wondering, I guess I was wondering if I should get a hold of Hankins and tell them we need some more money put into that.
And this one, I don't know, it was 200, but it's 0. We could probably put it at 100. We spent 665 in 2020, but
Yeah, I mean, it's just a
it's not-
contingency
yeah,
on
It's not much.
Also, public notices. I can't see.
He took
That
that
one
to
were-
0, so.
Yeah, because didn't we take that, we're gonna
Put
put
it
that
over.
somewhere else, right?
We put it in
Yeah.
administrator's budget, doubled the administrator's public notices. And took it. So then fuel, we tagged a little more on there just in case.
Yeah, Jacques been going places, so maybe travel will pick up.
Yeah, I mean, this line item wouldn't get hit unless you use the county gas station or the fuel cards. If you're paying for fuel, like you paid for it with your own credit card, you got per diem, it would come out of the allowance lines. The only time this fuel line would get hit is if somebody filled up at the county gas station or used the gas card.
I'd probably with 300. If not 200. but-
Yeah, maybe that didn't use that much.
This is for the internal audit, but the internal audit always comes in at around 10-ish. So I don't know why we've said the 20. I just carried that over, but we could probably take it down to 15.
Do we have like an agreement on how much it is? Or is it variable?
I think that 9,500 is the bill from last year for the internal audit. And I think the agreement is, I don't know if it spells it out specifically, but it's right at like 10 or 11.
We did a 5-year contract.
Like we did.
Yeah, we did.
Look and see what hit it in 2020.
I think it's been worthwhile.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the bill for that yet this year, so that 22
Wow.
actual will come.
I think it's statutory now.
Yes.
Well, it has been, but no other counties do it,
No, it don't.
which is quite funny.
But so, yeah, I
Maybe I'll
don't,
drop it down at 13.
I think that's
I
totally
think there's potentially other things. I mean, in 2020, we hit almost 13,000. It's cell phone, this is for the commissioners. Special department supplies, drop down a little bit on the budget.
and then this is a kind of a, I don't care if we do this, but it would be nice to replace these chairs. I was thinking we could take these chairs and put them out in the Interact house. Use these out there and get some new chairs for in here, but I'm
Not
not,
this year,
I'm not adamant about it. Whatever.
really not this year.
Yeah.
We could, pay somebody to steam clean it or something. Power wash them.
A steam cleaner might be nice, too, so.
I have one. I'll do it for the pizza.
A steam cleaner or a power wash? I have a power wash.
All right. Between you and I. Got it.
I'm sure it's probably, there's probably a lot of nervous tension in these seats.
So we have the 5,400 from 2021.
Probably not the best karma, huh?
The 5,400 from 21 was what we used to pay for the screens and whatnot. We still have 7,000 this year. We haven't spent very much of that, obviously, but I think Matt's gonna try and order some new microphones that are digital microphones. So that should eat up that 7,000 for this year. And then next year, so anyways, yes, then maybe I'd put it down to 3,500.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
what would
tried to
be,
listen to.
what was the 3,500 for?
today.
Anything that we need in this room. We can get a new Wi-Fi in here. Whether that comes out of IT, this is,
I was trying to
Your
listen to
call.
that water workshop.
I think it come out of this one, because this is where we bought the TVs out of.
Okay.
But I do think Matt's gonna try and get microphones out of that 7,000 for this year. So then I don't foresee any major expenditures next year. Right?
All right, then discretionary, normally we,
Yeah, I didn't know what to do on
so
that.
this one, what included, let's see if I can find it in my email. I
We
looked
did
at
the-
what it was for this year. Well, it was a lot of stuff that kind of hit the budget request at the end of the year, and so I just tagged it onto here. That's why the budget's so high. We've only spent 2660. Let me get in my email and see if I can.
I talked to Sarah today and she said if we're using the discretionary this year, next year is gonna be so tight, any of the water stuff we need to buy, maybe we should buy it this year. The stuff for the salines at the that wetlands, and there was something else that she really wants to water, studying our water.
Stage in there.
The stage was paid for by Trumbull Council.
No, it wasn't the stage. Let me, I looked up what it was. Let's see if I can- So this 124 is made up of 20,000 of just the normal discretionary, 6,000 for renewable energy program, 3,000 from Dark Skies mailers, which I don't think we've done, 15,000 for the Pack Creek gauge, which we did agree to, although it hasn't been expensed out of this account, so I guess we need to figure out where that came from.
Well, it was supposed to come out of that. They haven't, I thought they placed it because we're using it, correct? Yeah, we're using it for letting,
Yeah, I don't know though where we
Have
paid
they
it. or if
billed
they
us
have
for it?
Huh?
Have they billed us for it?
I couldn't find it. I looked it up in the AP.
Oh,
I didn't see any bills from USGS or DWRI, so I'm not sure. Maybe we haven't paid it yet. If we're not gonna pay it by the end of the year, we might need to carry that over to next year. Then groundwater monitoring, 10,000. Monitoring wells, 70,000. So Sarah has like a revised, on this next agenda, she's got, I think, some revised use of this money. That's not the same as what this is. We won't be drilling any monitoring wells or anything like that this year for sure. So that's why that's made up. Normally it's just 20,000. That's the normal discretionary budget.
So you think for this coming year, the types of things that you just read out should be stuck elsewhere in the budget?
Probably. I mean, we don't have like a place though for that kind of stuff.
Where is it to create?
Yeah, I have to figure out where it would be.
yes,
But yeah, depending on what the results of, or the outcome of this upcoming meeting, I'll have to take that and figure out a budget and plug it in somewhere.
So maybe we should just stick it at 25,000 for now or something, then we'll increase it if you decide that for, just like last year, you want to stick some of those things.
it's so real important. We're gonna be moving forward a lot more with that House Bill 411, what's it called, energy. I don't know what to get to. Using renewable energy.
See, right,
Is that gonna cost us any money this year? Or is it doesn't cost us that, that's all paid for through the state.
Not yet, but I mean, the gist of that program, I think, is that as a community, we kind of adopt 100% renewable, and then the individual citizens opt out.
And then I think the people that want to opt in but are on a lower income, that's what we're trying, that's the step we're on right now. It's figuring out how to deal with that.
but I got the impression that most of that would not be going through the county budget.
I kind of found that too. I could double check. Who's gonna take that over?
Then we've got legislative consulting. We have our contract is for 40,000, and then we have like another 10 for possibility of expanding that to like any federal lobbying, because the contract we have is just for state, although our current lobbyist could do federal too.
He
But
said
it's-
he's gonna help me set up the meetings this year, which is gonna be really helpful.
I mean, I think it's something we should be doing more of in the future, but it looks like this year we're way under that 50, so maybe we just leave it at 50.
Well, I'm sure it'll come in at 40,
Oh, really?
which is what we signed the agreement on.
I see.
yeah, we haven't got,
Really,
He's not
billing us
he's
out.
not gonna build less than what we, I can guarantee that, but it's gonna come out to be 40. I think anyway, and so, because that's the agreement we signed, and so there, there's that 10, which is sort of like the discretionary legislative lobbying budget that's on top of the contract. And I mean, it's possible you could ask for an increase too. And especially if we wanted to include federal work too. So I probably recommend leaving it. I do think we'll hit 40,000 this year, once I get all the bills in. All right, any other discussion on the commission budget?
mine would just drive it up, so.
More requests?
No,
For the commission? What do you think?
we'll have maybe,
Well, we're gonna have a retreat. I've been talking about it for 70 years, so it'd be nice to have one.
And I don't know. We need to, have we purchased any computers lately? Laptops for commissioners?
I think
Could we
everybody
need-
uses their own. I know I use my own.
Okay, so
I
maybe,
gave back my iPad and I used mine. He gave me a Chrome, but it never worked.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
those crowns were like powerful enough to so.
Maybe just money for the retreat or that fall
But that could
into,
come out of discretionary. It shouldn't be that expensive.
Well, it could be, the come out of that 750 on the special department supply. Normally when we do a retreat, I mean, we do it at the Grand Center. Sometimes we've done it out of the Park Service building or different places, but cost of food, and that's my hired facilitator.
I was thinking, because what we've been talking about is, I found the retreats in the past where we try to do a long-term planning. It's a waste of time. That, it just never has had any follow through. And the last one we had with Patrick Trim, well, you were here for it. But I was thinking more of a team building is what Jacques and I have talked about.
Well, yeah, and in the past, you probably remember that we have, that we combined with all the other elected officials too, so it wasn't just the commission.
Yeah, we did that for a while, and then COVID took that away. We should really look at doing that again. We used to have the commission with all the department heads get together.
And I do know that
Quarterly.
they want quarterly meetings too. So if we want to cater that, then, that would be an expense. Cater lunch. I mean, the 750 is already more than we typically spend, but I think maybe between discretionary and the 750 for special department supplies, probably be able to cover catering those things.
When I paid for the meeting facilitator, when we met with UTV businesses, where did that come out?
I think we paid that to USU. didn't we?
Yeah, we paid USU, through USU, they gave us the, for the times we never communicated with them,
I don't remember where we cut that.
probably took it out of this discretionary.
All right. Well, anybody else have anything before we close the meeting?
I'm happy to close the meeting.
All right. It is 4:23 and then close this October 14th meeting of the Budget Advisory Board. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. It's exhausting. That's what we're gonna probably be like this.